welcome to IGN Live from Gamescom 2017.
Today we've got Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, Assassin's Creed Origins, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and dozens more of the biggest games on Earth.
It's the biggest game show in the world, so sit back, relax. IGN Live from Gamescom kicks off right now. Welcome to IGN Live from Gamescom. I'm Damon Hatfield. I'm here with Ash, who is game director on Assassin's Creed Origins. Ash, welcome to the IGN stage.
Thank
here
you.
At Gamescom 2017, kicking the show off. We got a nice, really long look at Assassin's Creed Origins back at E3.
Yep.
You're going to give us a little bit of a different look at the game today, is that right?
Yeah, we're here for Gamescom. We have a new area of the world that we're unveiling. We're talking a lot more about the characters of this historical time period, like Cleopatra and Caesar. Here we're showing off the great city of Memphis.
Yeah, so maybe a lot of people don't realize Memphis is an ancient, very old city.
Very old
Egypt,
city,
right?
Yeah,
one of the oldest cities.
Even when we get to it in our time period here, it's already 3,000 years old.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. So it's rich with religious history, with art and culture, and we wanted to represent that and have players go through that because it's quite cool. Here we see this is a deity called the Apis bull. So Egyptians at this time period inside Memphis believed in this bull as a god, a living bull. And so they would decorate it, they would have the Apis bull festival. And so this is a quest that we're seeing right here where eventually as a player you get to experience all these kind of really religious rituals and really wonderful stuff from Egypt.
All right, so what are we doing in this mission here?
So in this quest, we get to it. So this is one of the main quests. You're hunting after a target named the Lizard, and right now what we saw was that the Apis bull was sick, and there's a belief that the Lizard somehow is involved in getting this bull sick. Now the bull is a deity for the Memphis inhabitants, so it's very important that Bayek gets involved. He's a Magi, which means that he's kind of a protector of the Egyptian way of life. So he's there to help the people, and this is going to lead him eventually to his target, the Lizard.
Yeah, it's like the Magi were real, right?
Yeah.
That's historically accurate.
Yeah, that's historically accurate. So they were a line of warriors who protected pharaohs, worked for the pharaohs. They were sort of almost like a secret service. And the idea is here we're at the end of that line. When the Greeks came in with Alexander the Great, they kind of started moving away from that, replacing those people, and Bayek being one of the few left.
We're doing a little crocodile hunting.
Yeah,
over there.
Random crocs in the streets. So here we're in a fort location. We're kind of jumping through a bunch of different locations right now, but here to show this is a military location. There's a guy that you have to save eventually. This is another side quest that if you're going through Memphis, you might run into this little child that's running away.
Yeah, we're sort of jumping around this mission here, but we're definitely getting a sense of the mobility that we have to maneuver around these cities.
Exactly. Memphis being one of the cities that we felt showcases the navigation in a very fluid, organic environment, where in Alexandria it's maybe a bit more organized. Alexandria is a cosmopolitan. It was more Greek influenced. Memphis being much more ancient Egyptian, organic, tighter, much busier. Here we'll run into some thugs in the streets who are using kids to steal and do some of their bidding. So of course, Bayek jumping in, helping out.
So we're seeing some combat here. This is probably a good opportunity to explain a little bit about this new combat system.
Yeah, so the new combat, that was one of the things, one of our big intentions when we started this project. So we started this project right after Black Flag. It was 4 years ago. And we had this intention to reinvent the experience of Assassin's Creed, and combat being one of those elements. So we've been pushing very hard to bring in a lot more gameplay, a lot more depth, have value in the gear and equipment that you find in the world. Bring in the RPG element, make sure that it works with bows. Here we see the bow. making sure that melee combat into the bow works really well and vice versa.
Yeah,
that you have value of switching.
It's one of the great truths of gaming that RPG elements will improve just about anything. If you add RPG elements, it's going to be a bonus.
Absolutely. No, we've been excited to take this route with Assassin's Creed. We've been kind of slowly doing it for a while. The naval combat of Black Flag was at the in the heart of it, an RPG system underneath the hood. And for this game, we just wanted to blow it up and actually make it a proper element of the game.
So you have a large weapon system, right? A wide variety of weapons, so players are going to be able to choose the weapon style that they feel fits them.
Exactly. We have a ton of weapons, so there's 8 categories of weapons, but even within them, you have a lot of rarities, attributes, stats that kind of modify and tweak the behaviors. So for example, we're seeing a spear, but a spear that does bleeding damage, is slightly different than a spear that might be poison tipped. So the way you use it, the way you think about it might slightly change, and this is what we wanted to see across the game. Here, this is an ability that Bayek has to be able to kind of, let's say, meditate and allow time to move forward. This is a way to decide, I want to infiltrate at night. Because it gives me some advantages. The guards sleep at night, stuff like that.
So you have a day-night cycle.
Full day-night cycle, and even as we saw there, the players are able to manipulate it even for their own needs. We have an AI system that gives the AI in the world, all NPCs in the world have schedules, agendas, and so on, needs. And the idea is that it plays off of the day-night cycle. So sometimes people need to sleep. Sometimes bandits are hunting out at night. So the player gets to manage that by moving time forward.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but this game is gorgeous. This game is so pretty.
Yeah, thank you. We have world-class, amazing, talented artists, technical artists, programmers that bring this world to life. And it's thrilling to be able to make an open-world game and not worry about it looking beautiful. That's one thing off our back. We don't have to worry about that. We can concentrate on the gameplay. The team is super talented, and we're really proud with what they've been able to achieve.
It's also a very cool setting. There aren't too many video games set in Egypt. There are a lot of games that will touch it. You'll visit there in one. You'll visit Egypt in one level, but not too many games that are set entirely there.
No, and even a lot of mainstream media, we wanted to make a game where people felt, or an experience, I should say, that people felt like, wow, this was somehow like a very authentic Egyptian experience. That it was something that somehow balanced being credible, but also mystical somehow. And no, that was an exciting opportunity for us. We felt that it didn't really exist. So tombs here, we're looking at a tomb.
Yeah.
Tombs and temples were very important, and we wanted to be able to explore these environments, have value for them, and even gives us an opportunity, to do gameplay where it's more structured. It's not the wild open world. It's there's puzzles, there's navigation, there's hidden knowledge under these places. So it's really cool to be able to take advantage of that.
What are we? I know we're investigating this pyramid temple here.
Yeah.
Have we found something down here?
What did we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the tombs and temples, they have. There's a lot of stuff to find. We wanted that exploration and discovering something really has meaning for the player, whether it's in a tomb or underwater, such as this. And so you always are finding narrative value, gameplay rewards, stuff like that. In a tomb, that's one place where you can find, let's say, ancient knowledge that gives you an ability point. So the idea is Bayek is learning something that helps him improve himself, if you will.
Sure.
There are other things to find inside tombs and temples, but we'll leave that to not spoil anything. There's some nice surprises for people. So here you can see the draw distances are stunning.
Yeah.
Climbing really a pyramid, you can pretty much climb every pyramid. Every point you can see in the world, you can get up there, slide down the pyramid if you want.
How many pyramids are in the game?
Boy.
Is there a number?
Oh, man.
We've put 333 pyramids in the game.
For sure, all of the pyramids that are in the Giza Plateau. I don't know how many. Oh, my God. The team's going to kill me.
You have to check with the team. So our new protagonist, Bayek, is that his name?
Yes.
What can you tell us about him?
So Bayek is, quickly his background is he's a native of Siwa. Here we're seeing a scene actually with Bayek and Cleopatra. That woman in the center is a new character that we're introducing here at Gamescom. Her name is Aya. She is from Alexandria, but at a very young age moved to Siwa. And her and Bayek grew up together, trained together. She's not a Magi herself, but she believes in the training and their philosophies. And they get married. And the idea is... So we start the game, they're already married. They're husband and wife in an Egyptian style. But the idea is that something has happened in their village of Siwa, and it propels them on this journey to try to figure out why did this have to happen, who are the people behind this tragedy that we won't really say what it is. But we wanted to show how a husband and wife that have the same goal but have a slightly different look at the world, how they can come together, solve their issues, and eventually this coupling, this marriage, gives birth to the brotherhood that we know from AC1. So that's kind of the idea. So Aya is a new character we're introducing. We're super excited about her. Here we just got to see a little glimpse of her.
This is to be continued. Thank you for playing the Lizard's Mask. So this is where the demo would have ended, but we're going to see a little more here, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So what we have here at Gamescom is really showing like a bit of a main quest, some side quest stuff for the open world activities of Memphis. We didn't want to spoil too much, so we stopped the quest there, because at this point you start going after your target, the lizard, and figuring out who he is really and his role in the world.
I see.
So we didn't want to spoil that. But of course the whole world, the Memphis world part is open right now, and so people are just, they can run through, get some abilities, find some equipment, meet some of the inhabitants of Memphis and so on.
We're taking a look at some of the equipment menus here, weapons menus and armor and stuff. Can you speak to that? Everything has a number on it. I assume that's the level.
Yeah. So the whole gear system, the abilities, everything. It's a very deeply driven RPG mechanic. So the equipment, you have your shields, you have all your melee weapons, you have 2 bows that you can slot in, you have your tools, your mount, and mounts, they range from horses, camels, chariots. There's many other vehicles in the world. So we've given quite a few ways for players to kind of find the playstyle they prefer. In the ability menu, you can craft or you can create the kind of character you want is our ideal. Whether you're a warrior style or a stealthy ninja assassin if you want, or a ranger. We have now shooting mechanics is very important to the game. The idea is you can create whatever kind of class of character you want, or even a hybrid class if you wish. And that goes through abilities and gear and so on.
So we're running around town here.
Yeah.
Do we have an objective, or are we just enjoying the sights?
So I think right now we're just looking at one of the big temples. So this is the Temple of Ta, one of the biggest temples in the world, actually. It's a beautiful place. So we've done a lot of research to bring this place to life. Effectively here, the quest just ended. So this is the Gamescom specific build. So the quest ends here. What the person is searching for right now is what we call a papyrus. These are puzzles that have been kind of left in the world, or documents that have been left by someone that allow you to access some great stuff. I don't want to ruin what it is. Some surprises in there.
Sure.
I think here we're just kind of trying to climb a wall.
We're doing our best. What role does Cleopatra play in the game, in the story?
So that's another big thing right now is in the context of the game, we're in 49 BCE, and this is a wonderful time period because Egypt already has a lot of mystery and value at this point of ancient Egypt, but it's at the moment of its demise. The line of pharaohs is about to end, so Cleopatra being the last pharaoh of Egypt. Here we're at a point where she's the exiled queen. So when her father died, Ptolemy XII, he gave the pharaohdom to her and her brother, Ptolemy XIII. And they had a civil war. So Ptolemy XIII ended up pushing her out. He was a boy king. He was manipulated, and he pushed her out of the country. She ends up kind of trying to build a mercenary army and coming back to take her throne, and she does that with the help of Caesar. So Julius Caesar famously is coming to Egypt. He's chasing after a Roman named Pompey. Pompey coming to Egypt. He gets killed. Caesar allies with Cleopatra and helps her ascend the throne. So it's a really wonderful, intense time period where a lot of stuff happened, and this is the journey, the context that we propose to our players.
Yeah, I know the broad strokes of all that from the HBO show Rome. That's where
Excellent.
I learned just the broad strokes of all that. Yeah, so you're telling a fictional story, but you're also including all the threads of what really happened.
Of course, this is one of the hallmarks of AC. I mean, it's important for us to meet these wonderful historic characters or people, actual people in these historic events. So the meeting of Caesar and Cleopatra is a famous moment where she's kind of like brought into his presence, and they have a meeting overnight, and that's famously how they get together. 9 months later, they have a child named Caesarion. But it's one of our hallmarks to interweave our narrative within true history. Of course, we are making fiction, obviously. But it's a lot of fun to be able to propose how does a character like Bayek end up meeting these people, and what are their interactions together. So it's fun.
So we're exploring another pyramid. We've seen some horseback riding, and we've seen some hunting with some crocodiles. There's also predator companions. Is that correct?
In a sense, yes. Okay. It's one of the abilities you have in the game. So there's a ton of fauna, a ton of animals in the world. We put a lot of effort to really bringing Egypt to life. And one of the abilities that you can purchase to have is to be able to tame animals. So whether it's a hippo, a croc, a lion, a hyena, you can tame these, and they'll follow you. They'll come with you. They'll help you fight, and it's one of the ways to kind of, let's say, manipulate the environment to get your objective done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you're adding a lot to Assassin's Creed. You're bringing a lot of new ideas to Assassin's Creed. Is there one particular element that you're like the most excited about or the most proud of?
I would say, one thing for AC, we've always tried to push the combat system, because combat is important for us. It's as important as stealth. Right now, especially in this campaign, we've been talking a lot about combat, but I would tell people that we're pushing stealth just as much. The thing is, the combat system, it's always very tricky. You want to get something that has a lot of depth, but also, a mainstream audience could enjoy it. And I think we found that balance where it's a beautiful feature to play with. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of variety, lots of enemies, and it gave us the opportunity to do a lot of boss fights. So we have finally AC has a lot of boss fights and super unique, epic boss fights. So it's, I love the combat system. I'm super proud of the team for what they've achieved with this, and I'm thrilled for people to be able to try it and see how far they can push the system.
Is this a puzzle we're trying to work through here?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So environmental puzzle?
Exactly. So this is part of the fun of some of the tombs is exploring the tombs. So sometimes it's a navigation puzzle. Sometimes, in this case, it's a proper environment puzzle. Other times you might have some surprise enemies to deal with. So we've used tombs and temples to try to provide like a more defined gameplay, because the environment, it's much more constrained. The cool thing is to represent Egypt authentically, for everything that is known in actual tombs and temples, we've recreated it to its fullest capacity. So the inside of the Great Pyramid, Khufu's pyramid, it's really the actual corridors, chambers. Of course, we've added in our own chambers that haven't been found yet, with our own lore. But yeah, we've tried to really be authentic on that level and to propose gameplay that would make sense for that environment.
Sure. And have you tried to do that with locations like Memphis as well, to sort of like recreate?
Oh, for sure. Alexandria, Memphis, all our cities. Heliopolis, Crocodilopolis, all these cities, we've really tried to recreate them as authentically as we do. But this has always been, again, a hallmark of AC.
Sure. You've probably turned off a lot of elements of the HUD for this demo. Is there still a mini-map option to bring up to?
Actually, what we're seeing right now is there's nothing that's been turned off.
Really?
The HUD is there.
Is it?
When you're inside a tomb, the idea is... we have a lot of different HUD options. You can have the HUD always on. You can have it completely off, or you can have it more dynamic as it is right now. So we've decided actively to remove the minimap. What we found was, we do a lot of eye tracking, a lot of testing, and what we found was we build these really stunning, beautiful worlds, beautiful characters, and people's eyes are stuck in a little corner.
Just watch the map? That's interesting.
And it became, honestly, I think it became a crux for us to drop feedback for players. And so early on we said, we want people to be immersed in the world. So we challenged ourselves by removing the minimap to say, can we find other ways to give players the feedback they need to play the game? The idea is not to take away feedback, but to give them the feedback, but more ingrained in the world, more stronger language in the environment to help them understand what they need to do and where they need to go. Sure. So yeah, we've removed the minimap.
Wow, that's really interesting.
We have a compass, but we wanted people to be really focused on the game world and reading the environment to understand what they need to do.
Wow, that's a bold decision, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, it seems like there's actually a lot of bold decisions going into this game.
Yeah, we challenged ourselves. We needed to modernize the series. We needed to bring something fresh and new. So we took a lot of bold decisions, and I hope people are going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
I hope the fans who've stuck with us for a long time are also excited to see this new stuff.
Yeah, I know I'm excited. Assassin's Creed Origins is out October 27th. Can't wait to play it. Ash, thank you so much for coming by the show. But don't go anywhere. Real quick, the IGN First team got a behind-the-scenes look at Assassin's Creed Origins. Let's take a look.
The city of Memphis that you're going to play in this game is an old city. It's about 3,000 years old already. So you have new buildings, you have older buildings, palaces, temples. Some of them are in ruined state, some of them are in a very pristine state. So it's a very interesting contrast to see all of these different traditions from ancient Egypt into the same city.
We had a challenge when we created the artistic direction of the city. We wanted to push the diversity in the city, we wanted to push the contrast in the city also because the immersion is very important for the player. You know, going from one district to the other, feel maybe the oppressive, magnificent scale of the Temple of Ptah, you know, overlooking all the small mud brick house in this, you know, kind of districts. So this kind of contrast was really interesting to bring to life when we created the city.
From a historical perspective, most of what we know comes from archaeology. So we have to try to imagine what was the city like and try to imagine what are the most important landmarks. So when you look at the city of Memphis, you'll see at the middle of it the Temple of Ptah. It's really that huge landmark, and the rest of the city is really oriented around that. It is the place of worship, the most important place that you can find in the game. So this is where they keep the traditions of ancient Egypt, the cults. So they have the god of Ptah, they have the Apis bull, which is a living bull that people worship. So they feed him, they clothe him, they clean him, and when he dies, they also mummify him. Mummification is very important to its inhabitants. And there are places in the city where you will see the mummification process. There's a place that's called the Wabbit. It's kind of a temple, but only made for mummification. So that creates a lot of activity around Memphis. It creates these magnificent tombs and this magnificent mummification, which is very important to the Egyptians and even for the Greeks.
We try to bring a lot of contrast in the immersion for the player, but also different kind of opportunities. You know, when you're in the small tunnels, like in the small tombs, you have this feeling of oppression, of density. It's very dark. You're not really into control. And when you escape, you're really under the light of Egypt and you can really master the landscape. So we had these flatlands around the city with the very vast, you know, fields of flax and wheat, and also the canals. It's almost like visiting the Venice of the ancient times. And you can really discover all the different districts from the reed boats. When you're on the canals during the daylight, you have this very beautiful shallow water with the green papyrus around you. But during the night, you will have this very spooky mood because all the mist will, you know, rise from the canals. And that's not only because of the lighting, but also how we deal with the atmospheric depth and how we manage, you know, with the mood in the time of day.
So you have canals that will go east, north, west, and south. And from there, you can see the royal palace where the pharaohs were being crowned at. Because the city of Memphis is very old, because it used to be the place where the pharaohs were being crowned at or lived at, there are a lot of artisans in the city of Memphis. They thrive, they make goldsmiths, silversmiths. They also make a lot of potteries. So all of these people in the city, they have their agenda. So for instance, they can take linen, they can then bring it to another person who's going to weave the linen to make clothing. And so the city is rich with people who have their own agenda, who have their schedules, who have things to do, and populate that city and make it very believable of ancient Egypt. What you'll see is that a lot of guards are protecting the goods of the pharaoh before it goes to the pharaoh, as a tax, as an imposition. You'll see all of these guards around protecting sites, protecting granaries, and so you may interfere with their needs, and so it creates a lot of opportunities for you.
So to make sure the opportunities are very clear in the city, and to be also clear about what kind of population will live in different locations, we're using some colors and some visual codes like the red and gold for the Ptolemies. So you know when you arrive in a place where you have red flags, you will have an encounter maybe with Ptolemy soldiers. Some areas would be a bit more like broken, like really decayed. You might find maybe a bandit camp there. So that's a different kind of direction you're showing, but you get used to that as you play through the game. As you explore the city, you will discover these kind of opportunities. Also using the eagle, you can see these values, these colors, and that's very helpful. But on Origins, we had also to consider the aerial perspective from Sinu's angle. So that's why when we created all the flat lands of the Ni Delta, we didn't just consider the colors from player's perspective, but also from Sinu's perspective. So all the patterns, all the patchworks, all the shapes of the canals should be interesting in terms of just image composition from above. What is very interesting about the surroundings of Memphis is that it's not only sand, you have also a very lush environment. You have palm trees, on a very large and vast distance, but also all the wheat fields. You have the Nile Delta, the Nile River, but it's only a part of the biomes we can visit in Egypt. And that's really fascinating for the artist, but also for the player to discover that massive diversity of biomes we have in ancient Egypt.
When visiting Memphis, I think players will really like to visit that huge city, which is really a dream for us to recreate, because it's a city that has totally disappeared today. For me, it's really a wonderful experience to be able to bring this old Egypt into the hands of the players, and for them to be able to walk around these sites, see these landmarks, see royal palaces, impressive places that don't exist anymore.
If you're looking for more Assassin's Creed Origins, you can check out 18 minutes of side quest gameplay right now. And be sure to check out our deep dive into the revamped combat in Assassin's Creed Origins. We'll have much more coming from Assassin's Creed Origins all month long as part of IGN First, so stick around. Thanks for watching.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. It's now time for a live gameplay demo of Monster Hunter World. I'm here with Ryozo Tsujimoto, who is producer on the game, and Kaname Fujioka, who's the executive director, and Patrick Shields will be our interpreter today. Gentlemen, welcome to the IGN stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So first, give us a brief overview of Monster Hunter World. Obviously, this is a very popular, long-running series. I believe this is the 5th mainline entry in the series. What did you want to achieve when you set out to begin developing Monster Hunter World?
今回のタイトルの概要と開発にあたっての目的を教えてください。はいはい。
実はモンスターハンターシリーズでもう10年以上ゲームを作ってきてリリースしているタイトルなんですけど、今回久々にですね据え置き機でリリースを考えてまして、でさらにこのモンスターハンターっていうのはその10年以上続けてきて、今の最新技術を使って今までのこの10年以上蓄積してきたモンスターハンターを作るという、ノウハウも込みでそれを最新技術さらに入れて、さらにこのモンスターハンターワールドっていうのを作ってみたいというところで今開発をしているものですね。
So the series has been running for over 10 years, of course, and this is the first time in quite a while we've been coming to a home console rather than portable. So our goal was really to take all the know-how we've developed over these years in developing Monster Hunter games and see what we can do when we combine it with the latest, current generation console hardware. We just really want to see what the best game we could make with that combination was.
Sure.
でこのモンスターハンターっていうのはこのモンスターハンターの世界っていうのがとても僕たちが、架空の生物であったりとか架空のフィールドであったりとかっていうところを、作ってますのでとてもユニークな世界になってますので、そのユニークな世界を本当にあるかのような生き物がいろんなことを考えたりとか植物を利用したりとかそういうのをですね体感してもらいたいっていうのも今回コンセプトになってますね。
We really wanted to bring a kind of living, breathing world to players this time around. So obviously Monster Hunter has always been set in fantastical environments with lots of imaginary creatures, and they're all really cool. But we also want to make the world itself part of the gameplay more than ever before. Whether that means interactions between different monsters and creatures, or using the environment and plants and things like that to help you out.
I see. Okay, so I think we're going to accept a quest here in the game. Can you set up what we're about to do in the game?
じゃあ今からプレイするところをちょっと教えてくださ。
はいい、今までですね、見せてた、古代人の森っていうのもあったんですけど、今回なんとですね、新しい、まだですね、実機では一回も見せたことのないですね、ステージの方に、フィールドの方に行きたいと思います。
So we've been showing the ancient forest stage since E3, but we have a first for you guys today. We're going to show off a brand new stage with a quest on that.
はい、でそれが大有塚の荒れ地というまだ実機ではお見せしてないですねフィールドですので、皆さんそこで実機でプレイしますので楽しみに見てもらいたいと思います。
So you might have seen this in our recently released trailer. It's called the Wildspire Waste, but this is the first time in the world we're showing live gameplay demonstration. So please enjoy it.
Yeah, very cool.
ではもう実際にクエストの方受けてますので、ここから実際に実機で説明していきます。
Yep, so we just accepted the quest, so we'll just kind of talk you through it as we go.
And what can you tell us about it was the Wildspire Waste?
Yes.
What can you tell us about this new environment?
どういうステージですか？この荒れ地は
はい、
どういうステージですか？
いきます。
はい、まあ荒れ地っていうんですけど、まあ大有塚っていうまあ有塚がランドマーク的にあって、あとそれをまあ中心に乾燥地と沼地っていう大きな、荒廃した地が2つあって、そこを生態がまあいろんなモンスターが生態を持っているっていう場所です。
So the ecology of this environment is that it's a mostly kind of dry wasteland, but there are also swamps and pools of water in different parts of it. And the defining feature is the spires of the name. So it's these kind of giant anthill structures that are dotted around the landscape. And the ecology of the monsters and creatures within the environment actually follows the fact that there are ones that are adapted to dry areas, ones are adapted to wet areas, and so forth.
で今回モンスターハンターワールドというのが全14種類の武器の種類ジャンルから好きなものを選んでいただいてプレイすることができるんですけど、このようにクエストに行った後もですね装備ですね変えることができますので、今回今スラッシュアックスという武器持ってましたけど、まだこれもあんまり皆様にじっくりお見せできてないガンランスの方に武器を変えました。
So as you can see, we're changing our gear. For the first time in Monster Hunter, you can change your equipment after you've already accepted a quest. So we originally had the switch axe selected, but the director who's playing here is changing up to the gun lance. It's a weapon we don't show off that often, so we're going to give you a chance to see some gun lance action today.
Very cool. And who is our little cat friend?
この猫ちゃんって誰でしょう？
I want to know more about that.
もう皆さんおなじみの今回もいるんですけど、オトマイルですね。はい。
So this is your Palico buddy. You might have seen him from the recent entries in the series on Portable, and they're back to help you in action on Monster Hunter World as well.
いろいろこれプレイヤーをですね手助けしてくれるキャラクターですので、シングルで行ってる時とかにね一緒についてきてくれたりしますので、はい、プレイヤーのサポートいろいろしてくれるキャラクターです。
So these are support characters. So when you're out on single player, they'll be with you there on the stage, and they'll do all kinds of supporting actions.
釣りをしますか？
釣りを。
We're fishing apparently, so here we go.
Time to go fishing.
これは何気に初めて見せます、
こういうのも初めてなんです。まあこういう釣りをしたりとか、まあいろんなものを採取したりってするのもモンスターハンターのユニークな部分なので、まあこういう部分をしっかり今回手を入れている。
So just before we head out to the meaty action, you're able to check out the environment for usable items. In this case, we're grabbing wet fish, which you can use like a whetstone to sharpen your weapon, but they're actually directly on the stage now. So you can pick up items as you go before you get ready for the action.
もちろんレアな魚が釣れたりすることもありますんで。
Of course, there are rare fish to find as well. So
nice.
I mean, what Japanese game doesn't have a fishing
Sure.
minigame?
Yeah, exactly. It's required by
Yeah.
law, I believe. So what monster are we tracking?
じゃあ今日討伐しようとしているモンスターは誰でしょう？
今目標にしているのがボルボロスという、モンスターになります。
So today our target is Baroth.
What can you tell us about
さあどういうモンスターでしょうか？
this beast?
まあ砂漠というかまあ沼を、テリトリーにしている、まあこの荒れ地でいうと結構広く巡回している、この地を広く巡回しているまあモンスターで、まあかなりこう突進型の、まあすごくこうなんていうかな力強いモンスターなので。まあその辺ちょっと楽しみに見てもらえたらと思います。
So Baroth is a very strong monster. Players who know it from previous titles might know it's got a very strong charge attack, and it kind of patrols the whole stage, but it also particularly likes to be in the muddy, swampy areas.
まあ今回はうまく、まあそのボルボロスというのは結構この荒れ地を、広く巡回しているので、まあそのボルボロスを中心にちょっといろんなモンスターとの、関わり合いっていうのが見せれたらなと思うので、まあプレイヤブルで少しそういうところも。 注目してもらえればと。
Yeah, so because he can be found anywhere on the stage, we're just going to explore the map a little bit, give you a chance to see our interactions with the other smaller monsters first, and then we'll eventually reach our target. So.
でこのボルボロスっていうモンスターシリーズ今までの過去シリーズにもいたモンスターなんですけど、もしモンスターハンターをご存知の方だったら今回表現力もかなり上がってますんで、そこら辺もちょっと注目してもらえたらと思いますね。
Yeah, so any veteran hunters who've seen Baroth in previous titles, I think should be especially excited to see how it looks in the latest.
The power of the PlayStation 4.
Exactly, the kind of graphics we can show with the latest technology is just a complete world away from the past games. So that should be exciting for veteran hunters as well.
でいろいろですねそのモンスターが今初めて来たのでどこにいるかわからないので足跡とかいろいろ痕跡を緑に光ってる虫、これシルベムシっていうんですが、それに匂いと覚えさせたりとかすることによってこのシルベムシが逆にそのモンスターの場所までガイドしてくれるようになりますね。
So you may have noticed we've got these kind of green sparkling bugs on the screen. These are called your scout flies. These will help you track down the monster you're after. So the hunter is going to find tracks and traces, whether it be, say, footprints or sort of slime that's been rubbed onto a wall. By collecting those, you'll level up your scout flies, and they'll be able to get you more accurately in the direction of the monster. And here we find them.
Here's our targets.
これがボルボロスというモンスターでして、はい。
So this is Baroth. Say hi.
Hello.
Let's just see how he deals with it.
攻撃はすごく大きな頭を基本的にはそれでアタックをかけてくるっていう、すごく突進重視なモンスターになります。
So you can see the really big crown on its head. That's what the Baroth mostly uses to attack. It's very hard, and it's obviously going to hurt a lot to get hit by that in a charge attack.
彼は沼地を結構泥を体にまとうっていう習性がありまして、その突進とその泥をばらまくっていうのでちょっとユニークなポイントを持っています。
Another of Baroth's unique behaviors is that he likes to hang out in muddy swamps, and then he'll cover himself in mud, come out, and he'll start flinging that mud at the player. So he's got a variety of different attack styles.
今のとかもですねちょっとアリ塚っていうか、オブジェクトが立ってると思うんですけど、ああいうのもですねモンスターに例えばぶつけさせることによって突進をぶつけさせることによってさっきダウンとめまいを奪ったっていうシーンなんで、こういういろんな地形っていうのも利用できます。
You can also use the environment to your advantage. So you might have seen just now we've got these spires that he has sort of tricked the Baroth into charging and attacking it, and of course hitting a big rock spire is much more hurtful to the Baroth than it is to the spire. So you can make them stunned, or you can make them fall over, and use the map in that way to make the battle go in the right way for you.
これはちょっとこの後注目ですね。
注目ですね。ちょっと大掛かりな生態を利用したプレイ。
Yeah, so I think we've got an example here where you can see the sort of ecology and the interaction between different monsters.
この今出てきたのがディアブロスっていう、モンスターハンターでかなり有名なモンスターなんですけど、この荒れ地の主みたいなモンスターです。
Yep, so you can also see that Diablos monster, who's kind of the king of this area, has appeared in the middle of a battle. So you're going to have very rich interactions between the different monsters, and there's kind of a survival of the fittest food chain type interaction between them.
で彼はああやってちょっと刺激なんていうかな騒音を嫌うんですけど、そのテリトリーの上でああいう音を出すと現れてああいう感じで地面を突き破って出てくる。
So the reason he's popped up is because we're kind of running around fighting on top of his ground, and he's sort of heard the vibrations as we're running around, and he hates those noises. So it's coming up to be like, who's this? Why are you interrupting me?
そういった行動を利用して、ボルボロスとかこういうディアブロスの巣に落として、ディアブロスをちょっと絡ませるっていうのがまた一つの、プレーのポイントというか。
So one thing you could do, for example, is use that on purpose. You kind of make a ruckus, and Diablos comes out, and you're going to have the Baroth falling into his nest. So now he's trapped here, and the Diablos is going to be, pretty upset that he's come into the nest. You can have them fight each other, and of course, if the quest is to, defeat Baroth, then it's only more helpful to you to get his energy down.
より強いものが、その弱いものに対してすごくプレッシャーをかけるように動くので、ボルボロスに対してもディアブロスの攻撃がすごく有効に当たっていきます。
Yeah, so you can see, Diablos is not messing around, and he's a stronger, bigger, badder monster than Baroth is. So, you can put them against each other and just see what happens.
Just let him do your work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
ただこの状況もプレイヤーにとってはすごく危ないディアブロスの攻撃を受ける可能性もあって危ないのであまり長居はしたくない状況です。
Of course, we've got an expert player here, but you have to be very careful when you make these kind of situations happen because it's dangerous for the hunter as well. So you're going to need to get out of the action there to make sure you don't get hurt and blown away yourself, you know.
なのでなるべくこういうのをちょっとディアボロスはこういう状況を嫌がってもう逃げるので、それを追いかけて次の展開に行きます。
Baroth is obviously, you know, not particularly happy about this situation either, so he's running away, and then we're going to have to go and chase him.
I see.
今はちょっと一部見てもらいましたけど、この世界のモンスターたちとかっていうのはすごくやっぱり最新技術でっていうところで言ったところで言うとやっぱり AI の方もかなり進化してますので、いろんなですね意思とかその状況でのAI を持って行動しているっていうところをちょっと先ほども見てもらいましたね。
We spoke about using, you know, the power of the PS4 Pro here. It's not just graphics though. We are obviously wanting to make the monsters' behavior as realistic as possible and their interactions. So we've really beefed up the AI. And you know, using the latest console technology power for that is really good because you can see that they behave much more realistically, and each of the monsters feels like a real creature in that way. They feel like they have their own desires and how they interact with each other.
We've talked about some well-known returning monsters. Are you also adding new monsters to the game?
帰ってきてるモンスターがいるんですけど、新しいモンスターも追加していくんですか？
そうですね。次ちょっとこの場でうまくいけば新しいモンスターとも少し
Yeah, we of course have a variety of new monsters in the game, and if things go our way here, we might actually get to meet one of them during this quest. So let's see how things develop.
この荒れ地にはもう一つ沼の方があるので、沼のテリトリーにしているモンスターが一匹いるので、今そっちの方に誘導してます。
So we're trying to lead Baroth down to this sort of muddy, swampy area, and there's a monster that calls that area its home. So we might be able to call in on him.
Interesting.
今身にまとっている装備がそういうちょっとモンスターを誘導しやすいくなる装備というアイテムなので今それで誘導している感じです。
You may have noticed that in order to lure the monster more effectively, we've actually put on what's called the Challenger Mantle. It's kind of a lure. It's a shiny chainmail that you put on, and the monster is going to chase after it.
それを使っていく。
こ
れも
これは
So he's just changed the mantle here, and that's the glider, which gives you a little bit of airtime whenever you're jumping off of cliffs and things. So you've got a variety of support items that you can use to your advantage during the hunt.
これも今回初めてプレイヤブルで見せる。
I think that's the first time we've shown the glider actually during the playable. So
これちょっと今回結構新ネタが多いですね。
新ネタだいぶ出してま
we're
す
showing you
ね。
guys all kinds of new stuff today.
That's awesome. All right, so we've mounted our target here.
少しジャンプした後に滑空を滞空時間を伸ばすことができるので、ああいった感じでジャンプ攻撃を狙いやすくできたりとかする。
Yeah, so mounting is a lot easier to do whenever you try the glider on because it gives you that much more airtime to give you a chance to attack it.
とまた新しい今日はよくいろんなのが出てきますね。
これもちょっと深くはまだ言えない要素なんですけど、こういうちょっと原獣人っていうアイルーンに似た原獣族がいて、そこの獣人族がいて、そういうちょっとね。状況が合えばこういう手助けをしてくれるっていう。
それぐらいにねこれはね。
So as unpredictable as live gameplay and particularly our game is, we weren't really expecting these guys to show up. So to be honest, we can't go into too much detail about them. But as you can see, in certain areas, if the conditions are correct, you will get certain kind of local cat creatures can maybe pop up and help you out in your hunt. But we were hoping to save that for another time. So you'll forgive us for not going into too much detail.
That's just a little hint then.
Yeah, let's stay tuned. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
これ今回ご覧の皆さん本当にラッキーですね。いろんなもの見れてます
Anyone watching this is really lucky. There's all kinds of stuff that we weren't even planning to show you. So
that's what you get with a live gameplay demo.
そうですね。ああいうのも状況が合わないとならないので。
しかも。
Well, it's very situational as well. You know, it won't happen every time. It's not a scripted cutscene, so it's really even hard for us to predict what's going to happen on any given hunt.
これが今回この沼地荒れ地の中では新モンスターとなるジュラトドスというモンスターです。
So we've just seen a new monster here, Juratodos. That's a monster that lives in these kind of swampy, watery areas of the expanse.
Cool.
でまたここでですねこの2体の大型のモンスターが出会ってしまいますとその2体の駆け引きっていうのが生まれることがありますね。
So you can see we're getting more monster interactions here because Baroth has kind of come into this guy's home turf.
見失って来た。
Disappears and pops up again.
Oh wow.
この2匹は沼地と乾燥地の方で結構テリトリー二分しているので結構出会うといがみ合いやすいというモンスターですね。
These guys are kind of, you know, as you mentioned, this Wildspire Waste it's mostly a dry area, but there are also pools. The water is sourced from the ancient forest actually and flows down here to create some swamps. But you can see that the king of the dry areas and the king of the swamps, when they meet up, they're usually apart, so they're not too happy. It's like not a great reunion.
弱りましたね。
ボルボロスもやってきましたね。じゃあちょっとジュラトドスも見つつで次行くのかな。
じゃあもうクリアしたいですね。
So we got both these guys in here, but I think he might be ready to go for the kill here.
Okay.
But we have to see.
でこれすごい今この世界をいろんな利用してですねモンスターにダメージを与えてますけど、もちろん直接自分の持ってる武器でですねガリガリアクションでダメージを与えていくということも当然できますので、ここはプレイヤーの方がどういう形でこのモンスターをハントするかっていうところのバリエーションとして見ていただければと。
We're focusing more on showing off the interactions for you guys today. So if anyone's watching is thinking he hasn't actually done that much, attacking by himself.
Yeah.
Just rest assured it's up to the player's choice completely. We wanted to show off the rich ecology and living world, but if you just want to get one monster in one area and attack it until it dies, that's obviously a strategy you can go with. But it's worth checking out the new options you have in the game as well, such as monster interactions.
これボウガンに変えましたね。
ちょっとボルボロスがもう弱ってきたので、ちょっと武器変えてまた違うプレイをしたい。
So it's Baroth is getting weak, so it looks like we're changing up weapon. Just going to go in for the last run here.
Okay.
お供の方もちょっと防具を変える。
今日はいろいろ見せますね。
Changing up the gear on the Palico here. You can see he's got his own variety of gear options.
初のプレゼンです。こ
れライトボウガンですよね。
これはヘビーか。
So he's changed up to the heavy bowgun here. So it's a ranged weapon, different from the blade ones.
今これディレクターの徳田がプレイしている、本当に今裏でプレイしているやつを解説しているので。
Yeah, this is not. I mean, obviously, everyone knows it's live. This isn't a pre-recorded or edited footage. He's playing right over there, so we're commenting live just as much as anyone is experiencing it live.
とても張り切ってドイツに来たのでいいプレーしますね。
He's come all the way to Germany to play it for you guys. Unfortunately, he hasn't got a spotlight up here on the stage, but he's doing his best over there.
Is he performing well? Is he
どうですか？
performing admirably?
素晴らしい。今日のは素晴らしいです。
今日いいプレーができてる。
It's amazing. I think he's doing really well today.
So you can go back and switch out your gear at any time, and the monster doesn't heal themselves.
いつでも拠点に戻って武器とか変えたりできるんですよね。その間にモンスターが例えば HP が上がったりするんですか？
もちろん今ボルボロスも寝てて、その間ちょっと体力が回復してしまってるんですけど、そういうその間武器スイッチしたりとかも。
Yeah, you can head back and change your weapon at any time. Of course, just like in the previous games, when you go back to camp, that gives a monster a chance to maybe go and sleep it off somewhere, and he might recover some health while you're away. But that's part of the risk of
the risk reward.
Yeah,
sure.
これは特殊だなんか多分狙撃じゃない。
これもいろんなもの見せますね今日は。
狙撃っていうスペシャルショットです。
So he's using a special shot type here to
ちょっとスナイパー的な感じですね。
今のは核散弾かな。
ギリスーツも使ってますね。
So what technique are we attempting to use here to bring the monster down?
じゃあこれはどういうテクニックを使って倒そうとしてるんですか？
これはもうですね、
今の戦略。
いろんなですねこのボウガンというのはいろんな弾もね変えながらプレイしていくっていうのが特徴なんですけど、その弾をですねいろいろ皆様にお見せしながらですねこのボルボロスっていうのをこう討伐するっていうところをお見せするところですね。
Well, we switched up to the heavy bowgun here in order to show off to everyone how many varieties of ammo it has, and they've each got different properties, and the way you shoot them and how they actually behave once you shot them is different. So he's just basically he knows it's weak now, so it's a chance for him to switch up weapon and take a different tack.
ぜひ何かかっこよく決めてほしいものですが。
I hope he can do a really cool final kill shot.
Sure. Finishing move.
Yeah.
来るか。これは大技ですよ。でかいですよ。でも決まらなかったですね。
He was hoping that would be the final shot, but it looks like he's got a little energy left in him.
今回お見せしたかったのはさっきやってた狙撃が結構ヘビーボウガンでは追加された新しいアクションなので、ああいうところは結構
また来た。
注目しておいてもらえたらな。
Yeah, so the heavy bowgun has always had a variety of ammo in the previous games, but we've got brand new ones in World as well, like the ones we just showed you, and the cluster bomb and everything. So, these are all a mixture of existing and new features.
Yeah.
Oh!
There you go. Well done.
弾によって結構アクションが変わるっていうのが今回のボウガンの新しいところでもあるので、撃ち方が結構変わって上から撃ったり、狙撃したり、あとちょっと 踏ん張って大きなのを当てたりっていう、まあ弾によってちょっとアクション変わるっていうところもヘビーボウガン。
Yeah, so with the bowguns and the heavy bowgun in particular, the way you choose your ammo really changes the gameplay. So whether you've got your charging blast you have to be up close to get, or you've got your distance shots or your rapid shots and things like that. So.
はい。で今討伐した後にモンスターの剥ぎ取っていろいろ素材とかですね手に入れたと思うんですけど、その剥ぎ取った素材とかクリアした時の報酬でも素材とかもらえますんで、そういうのを使ってまた次のためのクエストのためにいい武器とかいい防具とかを自分で作っていってもらって、より高みを目指していくっていうのがこのゲームの特徴でもありますね。
As you might have seen in a recently released video showing off the basic gameplay cycle, but you saw he's carving parts off the monster after he's defeated it. So the core gameplay of Monster Hunter is to grab parts off the monsters, and also you get some rewards in the final screen of the quest as well.
Sure.
Collect those up, and then you can create new and better armor and weapons, and then that lets you move on to take on bigger monsters. Yeah. So
very cool. Guys, thank you so much for coming by the show today and giving us a live gameplay demo of Monster Hunter World. I think the game looks awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
楽しいゲームだと思います。
ありがとうございます。
All right, stay tuned. We have more to come from IGN Live at Gamescom coming up next. IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment.
Hey everyone, I'm Creeper and Lucy here at Gamescom 2017. Now the EA conference has just finished and we're trying to like sit awkwardly on steps and be cool and talk about what we thought of the conference. Now it was a bit of an odd conference.
It was a mixed bag.
But there was one standout highlight, I thought.
It was. The whole crowd went absolutely wild over this one highlight.
I know you've been hanging out backstage.
Dog.
Jif Pom.
He's
maybe the cutest thing I've ever seen with my own human eyes.
And
he's got 6 million Instagram followers.
6 million Instagram followers, and was brought onto the stage in the name of the Sims Cats and Dogs expansion.
Yeah. But also they announced that you could also be a vet now, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and there was like a really tragic moment where a dog passed away, and like that was your motivation to become a vet in the Sims expansion.
I also love that you can see what your animals are thinking about. It's mainly food.
As a cat person, I was a little bit like about the way that the cat was portrayed as just being quite self-centered.
It's quite a stereotypical representation of a cat in popular media. Isn't it quite like symptomatic? I'm getting serious now. Isn't it quite symptomatic that we just watched a big major video game conference and we're talking about a little cute dog? Does that say something about the rest of what maybe was shown tonight?
Well, what was really funny about EA's conference, it was a very sort of flashy conference. Like they brought a new BMW onto the stage, and that was a big car reveal. Like this was like a car reveal. It wasn't just a car in a video game reveal.
Why does this keep happening in video game conferences? They're revealing cars.
I think like at this point we're sort of like, oh okay, like
it's
of course it's going to be a car. Like
I would just like to have seen what the game looks like because they did like a little sizzle reel of them driving the BMW. but obviously that has lower production value than what's in the game.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen the crazy stuff that actually happens in the game, just show me some new gameplay. But we got some other stuff. We got a big look at like the battles, the sky battles in Battlefront.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
which looks like impressive and stuff.
Yeah, like, you know, Battlefront 2 is doing a fantastic job at just sort of evoking the sort of Star Wars game that I wanted from the original. The aerial battles look very cool, and I mean, there's not really a heck of a lot more to say. Like it was a cool piece of dramatic, aerodynamic gameplay.
Exactly, and it was the same for Battlefield 1, because obviously Call of Duty World War II is coming out. I feel like they're beefing up the Battlefield 1 offering, is going, hey, you already have this game, do you want loads more stuff for this game instead of getting Call of Duty World War II? But there was one thing we haven't seen much of, is Fee, which is kind of like the more creative.
Yeah, it is really cool to see that EA is really continuing with their original program that was probably begun with Unravel. And, you know, it's continuing on with Fee, and also that it's getting Switch support. It's lovely to see these more kind of independent-minded games coming to the Switch.
I also want to see like big publishers like EA, which have been reluctant to bring stuff to Switch.
Yeah.
They've done it with FIFA, and they said they'll do more if FIFA does well. But obviously, Fee is more of an appropriate game in my mind as well for the Switch.
Yeah, and I really love the idea that, you know, it's a game that's sort of very set in nature, very centered in nature, that you can play in nature. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous. Like
Lucy's going to be playing
you're
in
sitting
the
there in the
fields.
forest.
So yeah, that was EA's Gamescom press conference. It's a bit of a weird mixed bag, but it turns out that small cute dog is better than big brown car. And for more on Gamescom, stay with us right on IGN all week.
How do you feel after all your travels? Lie down. Oh, I know. I'm a little tired too.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. Brian and I are here with Peter, who's a producer on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and he's going to play the game for us while we shoot him a bunch of questions.
Do it live.
Yeah,
we're going to do it live. Dude, I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah, this game seems awesome. You're going to hop in and play against the CPU a little bit right here.
I am going to play the CPU. Unfortunately, you know.
It's still going to be impressive.
Yeah, there's no bodies to take out, but
nobody.
You know.
I mean, there are a bunch of bodies in this room, but no one is willing to go up against.
Exactly.
No one wanted to step up against you. You're a pro.
Yeah, there's a lot of controllers in here, but I'm the only one holding one. So yeah, you know, really excited for Gamescom because we're showing off 4 new characters that are playable at, on the floor here. We have Jetta, you know, from Darkstalkers.
Oh man, you ruined it. I was going to quiz Brian on this earlier.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. Let's run through a couple of these characters here. I wanted to test Brian's knowledge of these Capcom characters.
Let's do it.
Arthur. What? You tell me what the game that they're from.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Dante.
Devil May Cry.
There you go. Firebrand.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh, and he's one of the newer characters we're revealing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jetta is from Darkstalkers. What about?
It's actually the planet from Rogue One.
What about Nathan Spencer?
You lost me.
Bionic Commando.
Bionic Commando. That's right.
Yeah.
Look at the arm. Look at this.
And then one more.
Even has the emblem.
Yeah. One more. Sigma.
Sigma. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on this one too.
That'd be Mega Man X.
That's right.
And bad guy from Mega Man X.
I thought you were going to ask me about Hagar.
Yeah.
I could talk about Hagar for 15 minutes.
All right. Who are you going to play right now?
So I will play Jetta, show him off a little bit, along with Ghost Rider, who we're also revealing here at Gamescom, and I'll show the Soul Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a stone that we're revealing here at Gamescom, which it's pretty awesome. It revives a character. You know, if you, let's say a character gets KO'd, you can bring them back to life with the Infinity Stone. So it's pretty strong in a game like this.
Peter, that's cheating.
Is it?
No.
Is it really? I mean, because, you know, your opponent could play the Soul Stone as well. That just means you have to beat them down that much harder.
You see, the gameplay has been switched to 2-on-2 fights this time around.
Correct.
What was the reasoning behind that?
We wanted to make sure that, you know, it was easier for players who are new to the series to be able to pick up the game and play with 2 characters and really, you know, experience teamwork with their team. With the 3v3 combat we had before, it was a bit daunting for players, you know, having to pick assist types and which 3 characters should they pick and how do they really make them work. In this game, by bringing it back to 2v2, it's a lot more digestible, a lot easier to understand. But we have the switch system, right, where you could kind of switch anytime you want. and that allows players to really drive up their team synergy in a way that we haven't been able to do with previous entries. So even though it's 2 characters and it's a bit easier to digest in terms of the complexity and things like that that you want to get out of the game, it's a bit higher.
So I feel like that's pretty awesome, even for people who play sort of more traditional fighting games, because they will get an opportunity to learn 2 different characters in the same match almost immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely, with all the kind of strategies you can employ with the Infinity Stones, right? With each Infinity Stone, as you can see Ryu right now, he's using the Infinity Surge and he's shooting a homing projectile. And when I use my Infinity Surge, I send out a life-draining whip. It really changes your team dynamic, right? You can suddenly have guys who double down on strengths, or you can make up for character weaknesses. And being able to do that really drives up the strategy in this game in a way that hasn't been done in previous entries.
There's just a big gross mouth back there.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Oh, this is background right here.
Yeah.
It's the Dark Kingdom, and it combines the what is that area in Doctor Strange's movie?
Right.
At
the end?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Where he goes at the end of the movie?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the Outer World.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, if you didn't see it, sorry. But yeah, it's the Outer World combined with the Dark Kingdom, where Jedha's from.
Yeah.
So we combined both of those worlds, and what you see there is the kind of the giant symbiote getting fed.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
What other movies will we show the end of right now?
So each player picks their 2 fighters, and then they pick a stone?
Yes. So let's go back to the character select screen so you guys can see it. So you pick your 2 favorite heroes, right? 2 guys who you're highly interested in. And there's no assist types. That was what was present in the previous entries, right? In this one, you just pick your 2 favorite characters. I like Ryu a lot. And also, I will go for Dormammu. And then, you have one of your 6 Infinity Stones. And as I mentioned, there's 2 actions per stone. The Surge action, which you can use anytime. You can keep using it, and it really adds to your team. Because, if you use, let's say, the Power Stone, you get a knockback attack. If you use the Space Stone, you can pull the guy in. It really changes how your team kind of functions. And then there's the Infinity Storm, which is like this grand action, and it really powers up your characters. It helps you come back, make a comeback in a match, or really press the advantage. And it makes you feel really powerful because you break a combat law associated with that stone. So case in point with the Space Stone, you can enclose the opponent in a space cage, and they can't really move anywhere.
So I call it cheating, you call it breaking the law. What's the difference between those things?
Oh, well, breaking the law, that just means, you're...
It's more like a law of physics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
cheating,
legal.
Yeah, cheating means like you know the law, and you're actively kind of skirting it. This one, you're just controlling the law.
Yeah.
But I'll pick Power Stone.
All right, so we got Ryu and Dormammu with the Power Stone. And what's our environment? What level are we playing on this time?
The CPU? Oh, it only has
No, I mean the stage.
Oh, the stage. Sorry, it's an umbrella. So, AIM from the Marvel universe paired with Umbrella from the Resident Evil universe, and you're fighting in this stage that combines.
And so that's interesting. Is that what all the stages are?
Yes.
So combinations of Capcom and
exactly. This
Marvel.
Yes. Every stage is a mixed world where we combine two aspects of key areas in both universes.
I really want to see that movie now.
Yeah, the Marvel and Capcom movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's called story mode. And when you play that, you'll be able to see this awesome story unfold as to why both characters from these universes are in the same place at the same time. And it tells a story of why Ultron and Sigma have paired up in an effort to destroy all biological life.
Now, so how do you sort of find the balance between all of these characters? Because they're completely ridiculous. You look at someone like Hagar, and he's just like a mayor that lives in a city.
But he's not just a mayor.
Yeah, he is a mayor, yeah. I mean, well,
he's like the buffest mayor.
He is the buffest mayor.
Yeah,
but he smashes cars here and there. He's got sticks, and he eats chickens off the street like a weird dude. But then he's going up against Iron Man, who's shooting lasers out of his hands. How do you find that balance there?
Well, that's the beauty of this game, right? Like them being in the same universe puts them kind of on the same fighting level, right? So what we try to do is we try to make sure that, you know, these guys are dealing good damage, they're moving around fast enough, so that even though they might be fighting, you know, otherworldly opponents, they're able to be capable. And you know what we try to do is we just try to make sure that, you know, the characters are true to their game and they have their signature attacks, so that they're fun, but at the same time, they can put up a fight.
God, that gun's awesome.
Dude, it's like the cannon. Yeah, but as you can see, oh man, Iron Man turned on the Infinity Surge with the Reality Stone, and he controlled all the elements. So he was shooting lightning, ice, fire. You know, he was utilizing everything. Whereas when I activate my Power Stone, I can knock him against the wall, and all my attacks are very, very strong. I become the embodiment of power. So it really changes up how your characters kind of function.
Brian, that big face man's just watching everything from
MODOK.
Yeah, that's
MODOK.
I somehow remember him and don't remember other obscure characters that you named before. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before we see MODOK in the Marvel movies. Yeah, he's a very weird dude.
Yeah, MODOK?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's actually an organism designed to kill humans, or designed for killing humans. Yeah.
It's about time.
All right, what's next?
Let's see. So let me go back to the roster here, and let me pull out Firebrand. So there's Firebrand. Yes. And
oh man,
I really love this guy, by the way.
Who else do you guys like? Like, who do you want to see real quick?
I mean, I really like Hagar.
Yeah.
Dude, the mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's actually, you know what's funny is that on my team, if I was to play this for real, you know, against, you know, someone else who was experienced, I would play Hagar Nemesis. That's actually the team I want to play. Because, you know, when you use like the Space Stone, which is really interesting about it, is you can pull the opponent in. So typically what opponents want to do is run away from a grappler. They want to stay away from a guy like Hagar, but you can use the Space Stone to pull them in or entrap them, right? And then he can kind of just run amok.
Yeah, I really like
the skull.
Yeah, Firebrand's intro animation, because that's kind of how he jumped off in his games too. Like, what I like about Firebrand was this is like one of the first times I've ever played a sort of spin-off video game, especially one starring an enemy.
Like what? Like Demon's Crest?
Yeah, like taking
Gargoyle's Quest?
Yeah, taking the enemy from Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts,
Oh, yeah.
and then giving him his own game was like it's such a bold idea. Well, there's Hagar's signature. That's what got him elected.
Driver?
Yeah, and then
well, he does pile drive.
Where's he getting all of these these barrels from?
Yeah, so he has these barrels now because in like previous games, when you were fighting opponents who ran away, he couldn't really catch them. Right. So he was always at a disadvantage. So what we did was we revitalized the character by giving him barrels. So now he can catch guys who try to stay away from him or, you know, jump away. Same thing with when he picks up a barrel. Let me see that. He can use it to block projectiles.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But usually, I mean, in the final fight, he's breaking those open and finding those delicious rotisserie chickens.
Well, in this game, there's apples in there.
Oh, that's good.
And
so he's eating healthier these days.
Yeah, you know, he can't be eating was it street turkeys all the
Street
time?
turkey?
Yeah.
Street meat.
Yeah,
So you get salmonella.
Yeah, dude, they get sick off that.
Street apples are safe, though.
Yeah, apples though, you know, they're a bit better.
I like it when the big Infinity Storm
Yeah.
text pops up on screen. It reminds me of like old like Nintendo Power.
Oh man, I am getting mopped.
Yeah, this game is like just gorgeous. A lot of the sort of particle effects and lighting effects happening.
So you see, when I activate the Infinity Storm, you see how he's trapped?
Oh, wow.
So I can
really
find him, right?
So you can still
and then I
enter
can
that.
just kind of walk up to him and kind of just beat him up in the box. And he can't really do much. It's pretty dastardly, I think. I think it's one of the more exciting stones in this game. Not to say that they all aren't exciting, but it's so obnoxious.
So now Firebrand has obviously a lot more of a sort of like aerial style.
Correct. Yeah, he's more at home in the air. He can alter his movement in the air, come down, fly around. He can grab the opponent, kind of swoop down on them. Yeah, he's pretty. I would say complex, but at the same time, just his standard movement and attacks are really easy to digest. But for those guys who want that depth, who really want a character that they can really confuse the opponent with and learn a lot of tools for, Firebrand's definitely up there.
So he's a little more higher level for, like, you wouldn't suggest like
he's
a
definitely, I wouldn't say he's a beginner character. Now, mind you, there's mechanics in here that are suitable for beginners that make him usable for a beginner, but at the highest level, I would say, you know, he's pretty complex.
I don't think I realized how ripped Hagar is. That's really intimidating.
Right? Do you see how vascular he is?
Yeah.
The guy, he's
that's a good word to describe it.
Yeah, it's definitely the apples. It's
the
it's the apples in the barrels, man.
An apple a day.
So now, who do you sort of recommend for players just starting out? You and I did a video series together at IGN where you actually taught me how to play Street Fighter.
Yeah, and you got pretty good pretty fast.
I did.
I think in this game you'd actually get really good a lot faster. I think that in this game, if you played No Lie for about 15 minutes, you know, utilizing the simple combos or utilizing the simple hypers, right?
I could take down Evo single-handedly?
I don't think you could take it down, but you could definitely get out of your pulls, you know, and that's better than how you did in Street Fighter. So
was that on Street Fighter 5?
Yes. So who's a good character for someone like me to start out with?
Let's see. Let's go back to the character select. I think that, and these characters are pretty strong. They hit pretty hard, and they don't require a lot of memorization. I think the characters that fit that rule are Hulk. You know, he hits like a truck. He has armor on his attacks. He's really easy to work with other characters. So I would recommend him. I'd recommend Thanos, right? And Thanos is new to this game. He hits, once again, really, really hard, but he has cool moves like easy teleportation. And he's pretty awesome. I'd also recommend Strider. So
interesting.
Yeah, Strider's extremely fast, and he hits pretty far. So even if you're kind of flailing and hitting buttons, all of your attacks will connect. So he's definitely the character I mean, these three characters I'd recommend.
I wish we had two controllers and Brian and I could play.
I know.
Dude, I wish you guys could play.
Yeah.
Like, you guys...
I really dig Strider's art style in this game, by the way.
Strider always looks cool, man.
Yeah, he really does.
A really cool dude.
I really miss ninjas. That was like such a cool thing for a long time in the 80s and 90s.
What's funny in this game, it's like Gamora and Strider in the story kind of team up, and they're like team ninjas, right? You have a space ninja and Capcom's ninja, and they kind of go after character Grandmaster Mayo. I mean, the enemy Grandmaster Mayo. So, yeah, they work together. But as you can see, like from the range that Strider's hitting from, he has like a really good range. Could throw out a Cyber Tiger.
And what?
That bird.
What's the Capcom and Marvel mashup in this stage? I see Stark Industries back there.
Yeah, so this is Metro City from Final Fight. So I don't know if you see the statue of the character Damned back there, and also the punks from.
Oh right.
Yeah.
What were they called? It was like the Mad Gear Gang?
Mad Gear Gang,
yeah.
Yes.
How do I know that?
Yeah, dude. And then, you know, this also is New York. So you have the Avengers Tower back there.
Yeah.
If you look at the back, you see the various posters. So you have Captain America trying to recruit people into the fight against Ultron. You also have J. Jonah Jameson and Hagar back there. If you look at the billboards in the back.
That's such a great mashup.
Yeah.
Where's the guy from Final Fight that's like, oh, my car?
Brett? I don't know. We don't have him in there.
Well, I'm throwing you some ideas for DLC. Just put him next to that car back there. Have him crying. Yeah, it's great that I can't remember like specific Mega Man characters, but I can tell you the name of the Mad Gear Gang. So what's going on right now?
So right now, she turned on the Infinity Storm with the Power Stone. And right now, all of her hits are magnified in terms of strength. As you can see, every hit has a lot of impact, higher damage. Also, the character, you can't really defend against them as you would defend against characters normally. So it's a pretty strong stone to use.
You got a tutorial mode Or a practice mode where you can practice all the moves of the different characters?
Definitely, yeah. So in this game, what we have is we have a mission mode. And what's awesome about the mission mode is that will allow players to go in and understand how to play the game in general, right? How to use the Infinity Stones, how to actually move around, super jump, all that kind of things, right? It's a great tutorial to introduce people to the mechanics of the game.
Sure.
But then from there, you can pick your favorite character and actually go through individual missions and see their special moves, you know, team synergies, possible team synergies, combos, things like that. So it can teach you, you know, the basics as well as the complexities per character.
That's really cool.
And then on top of that, we also have training mode, which you can then use to, you know, figure out scenarios. You could train the dummy to do certain things and learn how to fight that. And even while you have that on, while you're in that mode, you can turn on online matches, so people can challenge you. So while you're practicing your combos and strategies, people can challenge you, and then you can just immediately do it on them while it's still fresh.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, there's definitely a bit going on for single player content.
Cool. Thank you so much for bringing Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite by the IGN stage and playing for us today.
No problem.
Showing
man.
off
Thanks for
your
having me.
skills. Stay tuned. Much more to come from IGN live at Gamescom. Coming up next.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. I'm Damon Hatfield. I'm chatting with Rich Briggs, who is Senior Brand Director on Tomb Raider, and we're talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider. And you might be asking yourself, why are we talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider? And it's because you just announced the new, you're taking advantage of the Xbox One X release.
Absolutely.
Coming November 7th. So tell us about the upgraded version of Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so Rise of the Tomb Raider is going to be enhanced on Xbox One X, and we're really just trying to take what, in our opinion, was already a beautiful game and just make it even more immersive.
I share that same
Thank
opinion.
you. Appreciate that. Make it even more immersive, more vibrant. Yeah. We're working with Nixie Software again, so these guys, as you know, they're phenomenal. They know how to eke just every ounce of power out of a piece of hardware. And the main upgrade is the fact that you can now choose between 3 different visual modes. So we have native 4K support, which delivers the highest possible fidelity. We have the what we call enriched visuals mode, which means that we turn on all the technical bells and whistles and really just dial everything up for a very, very lush, very vibrant graphic treatment. And then finally we have high frame rate mode, which will hit 60 frames per second across most of the game. And that really delivers that silky smooth gameplay during the combat, really enhances those high octane moments. So you can switch at any time between the different visual modes and just choose the one that best suits your play style.
Yeah, this is actually my first time seeing this trailer, and yeah, it definitely does look very, very pretty.
Thank you.
And it's a really good excuse to revisit this game, I think, because I played it when it first came out on Xbox One, but I haven't gone back to it since then. But it definitely sounds enticing.
Thank
it's
you.
A good excuse.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. If you already have Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One, then you're going to get the enhancements for free. It'll be a patch that goes out to everyone on November 7th. And if you haven't played it yet, then you really have no excuse, because we are just dialing everything up. We're going to add HDR support, so you really get that accurate color representation. We've got true spatial audio now, so including Dolby Atmos, you can have that 3D audio treatment. And we've got higher textures on Lara, on the NPCs, on the environments. It's really just dialing everything up, adding that level of detail and immersion that we've never had before.
Well, along with the when it came to PlayStation 4, it was the 20th anniversary edition, and you
Correct.
added a bunch of fun stuff like the classic Lara,
Yes.
the polygonal Lara skin. She's going to look very sharp in 4K.
She will look incredibly. Yeah, it's kind of like you're going forwards by going backwards a little bit, but it's awesome because all the 20-year celebration content is available on all platforms. So it's a great way to just look at the game in a completely different light because you get those extra sharp. Even though we have better anti-aliasing now, so I don't even know what that'll do to polygonal Lara.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to check that out. So tell me about the Xbox One X. You know, it's still not even out yet. It's finally available to pre-order. What's been your experience working with this new console?
Well, again, we always partner with Nixie Software on projects like this, just because they really know how to go in and just get everything that they can out of the hardware console. And so it's been actually really a great development process. We sat down with them. We said, okay, what are the things that we can dial up? What are the new technologies that we can bring to bear? And then they pretty much go off and work some magic, and then we get to look at builds and just see the graphic updates coming in. So it's actually been, I don't want to say easy because nothing's ever easy, and they're always pushing themselves, but it's been a relatively painless process, and we've just been able to, as you can see, add a ton of new tech features. So it's been great.
So you found the new Xbox One X hardware to be impressive?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not interested in like console wars or any of that business, but is this on Xbox One X? Is this going to be like the best looking version of?
We always try and make each release that we do the best possible version that we can put out and make it the new benchmark for what a Tomb Raider game is. So with the addition of native 4K support, this is going to be the highest fidelity that we've been able to deliver in a Tomb Raider game. So again, we try and make every platform launch amazing. With the Xbox One X, just the added hardware means that we can deliver that fidelity that to this point we weren't able to get that native 4K before.
That's very cool. So this will be available on November 7th when the Xbox One X launches.
Absolutely.
Free download for everyone who already has the game.
That's correct.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about a couple other games. You have two really good top-down isometric action puzzle Lara Croft games.
Thank you.
Guardian of Light and Temple of Osiris.
Yes.
I would love to play those on my Switch.
Wow.
Nintendo Switch.
I would love to play those on my Switch as well.
So just a little idea there.
That's a good idea.
If that sounds something like
Don't read anything into my little conspiratorial look at the camera. I'm not saying anything, but that is a great idea. That's a great idea.
And of course, when there's more Tomb Raider news to share.
Yes.
In the future plans, please share them with us.
Future plans for Tomb Raider?
Unless it's
what
just
could
done.
that be?
Unless there aren't any more plans. Rich, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thanks, Damon.
It's the visual enhancements for Rise of the Tomb Raider coming to Xbox One X on launch day, November 7th.
That's right.
Cool. Stay tuned. Much more to come from IGN Live here at Gamescom after this.
IGN Live at Gamescom 2017 is presented by Fortnite, available now, and Destiny 2. Pre-purchase exclusively on Blizzard Battle.net and get early beta access. If you're out there, we need your help. The storm came, the monsters followed. Now, it's time to fight back.
Show them what Guardians are made of!
You're not brave.
Hold on back there!
Pre-purchase Destiny 2 exclusively at Blizzard Battle.net and get early beta access.
Hey everyone, I'm Alana here at the EA Showcase at Gamescom 2017, where they've just shown off a whole bunch of games at their conference, and this place has a really cool setup. Let's check it out. So I found a couple of Rebel pilots here. This is Michael and Julia, who are the best people to ask about the giant X-Wing behind us right now. What can you tell us about this?
Well, actually, it's almost a life-size X-Wing we built. 2.3 tons heavy, and there's a functional R2-D2 in the back.
How did you actually go about making this?
Well, first drawings. The first question is always how to transport it, and the second is just get a few good people together. And it's almost right now like 6 years working together with 14 people. It's like from the 501st. That's the reason why we come together. Best friends. It's no work. It's fun.
And how does it feel being here, showing this off, dressed as a rebel pilot?
It's pretty amazing. It's no work really. So just like they say, do something you love and you don't have to work a day in your life. So we're not working, we're just enjoying ourselves big time here.
So we're basically in the heart of the Death Star right now. What went into making this area?
Well, actually, this is for the movie theater for Battlefront 2. The place where the guy is waiting outside and get into the movies on the right and the left. And if you want to, I'm gonna show you that magical door right here. Opens up. Oh gosh, company.
So one of the coolest parts of this area is this automatic door that you have here. How did you make that?
Well, first of all, studying the movie. That's the main thing. It's also an epic scene where Obi-Wan gives his life to make it sure that Han, Leia, Luke, and the droids and Chewbacca can escape from the Death Star. And I think these are the emotional scenes what really be liked from all these fans, and the people knows what's happened.
How long did it actually take you to make this booth?
To set up this booth over here was 2 days, but everything was made, like the X-Wing or the TIE Fighter, both were each over 1,200 working hours with 14 people. And this set over here was close to 600, and also night shifts. Sometimes it's not the main job.
Someone who doesn't have a lot of time or a company or money, and I want to start making props or recreating scenes from Star Wars, like where do I start?
Well, the first thing is research. You need to research, and the much closer you get through that imagination in the movie, then you're getting closer, and the rest is the brain, everything what's not really there because you couldn't have the time. Everybody who visualized that, you're not really, it's a Star Wars, and even if it's not, it's just 80% of the complete set. It's quite enough to have the experience and the feeling. And feelings are the main thing what humans are, about what's good and what's wrong, what's right and what's wrong. And that, I was 10 in the first movie when I saw the first movie, and never let me go. This is the main thing. It's very important. And connecting with the complete planet Earth over the 501st, getting friends in the States, in Japan, all over the world. And it's one unique language that don't need to explain. It's just love.
Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. Lucy and I are here chatting with Zach Garris, who is lead writer on Life is Strange Before the Storm. Welcome back to the IGN stage.
Thank you so much.
We got to chat with you at E3 about this prequel, and now here we are. You're only 9 days away from release.
Yeah, we're ecstatic. August 31st, Before the Storm.
1.
Yeah, Episode 1, Before the Storm. Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC.
And gamers at the show can actually get their hands on some of the game, right?
For the first time, yeah, we're doing hands-on demos, so people here at the show are going to get to actually play as Chloe. Yeah, first time ever.
What's the little slice of the game that they're going to get to experience?
So we're going to look at the mill, the sort of punk lumberyard, illegal band scene that we saw in our release demo.
Now, speaking of punk, you have recently announced that you've collaborated with a band for this game. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so there's a British indie folk band called Daughter. They're amazing, and we have worked with them to compose a completely original score for all of Before the Storm. So we shared a number of briefs with them about the themes and the elements of the game that really kind of explore who Chloe is and what the story is and the mystery of Arcadia Bay this time around. And they've drafted music specifically for the story that we've created.
That's cool.
Yeah, what kind of sound do they have? I mean, when I sort of think of Before the Storm, when I think of Chloe, I think of sort of she's got a kind of punk sensibility.
Yeah. I think there's something amazing with what Daughter's accomplished, because the sound that they've created for Before the Storm feels simultaneously, I think, fitting for Life is Strange, but at the same time different in the way that Chloe is different from Max. There's a kind of an edge to it that I think is fitting for her character.
Do you have plans to release the soundtrack?
Yeah, we'll have an announcement for that down the road. I think currently Burn It Down is a track that you can listen to on Spotify.
I see. Very cool. So tell us about this backtalk ability.
Right. So here at Gamescom, we've announced a new gameplay mechanic that we've built specifically for Chloe. And the idea here is to give players the chance to sort of step into her shoes when she's at her most witty and at times maybe most brutal, but the ability to kind of push anybody's buttons through a special sort of dialogue minigame to elicit the kind of behavior that she wants from someone. So in the case of the mill, the footage that we've shared, where she's at this sort of illegal lumber yard, she had to talk her way past a bouncer. One of the ways that the player can get inside is through utilizing the backtalk system to convince the bouncer that she's tough enough, that she belongs. So it's an interesting way to explore kind of how Chloe is very different from Max, but this is not an alternative to the rewind power from the first game. This is just a particular mechanic that we're exploring to give players the chance to kind of be in Chloe's world a bit.
And this would inevitably show us different sides to Chloe as well, wouldn't it? Because I think for a lot of us, with the original Life is Strange, we just saw kind of one side of her.
That's right.
So, we might see different sides of her using this mechanic.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I think in general, through the course of the game, we're going to see aspects of Chloe that feel totally familiar from the first game, that kind of edginess that she has, and at times anger. But we're also exploring much more of her interior world, and I think fans are going to get a chance to see some surprising angles to her personality and her character, sort of funny moments with Chloe, some gentler moments, some more vulnerable moments as well.
Chloe can be kind of a polarizing character.
That's
she
right.
Certainly has her fans. Some people are maybe a little bit less enthusiastic about it. But I mean, obviously, you write for this character. Like, what are your thoughts on writing for a character that can be polarizing?
I think everyone in the writers' room has had obviously really bad days. Sure. We've all grown up and gone through adolescence and those teenage years that can be so brutal. And I think playing up those aspects with Chloe, the kind of hardness to her, that's been easy because we're all pretty familiar with that, and it's a very vibrant element of the character in the first game. The more challenging parts, I think, have been finding nuance to her personality and to her character and to her history, and looking at how to craft a story that shows, I think, more depth and more sort of an explanation as to how she becomes that blue-haired, beanie-wearing badass that we know from the first game.
I mean, just thinking back to my teenagehood, I was an idiot. I was like an awful teenager. Yeah. I was terrible. Have you been consulting with teenagers? With terrible teenagers,
yeah.
To help flesh out this character and make her real? Because, I looked back at my teenagehood with sort of rose-tinted glasses, but really, I was awful.
Yeah, I think everyone in the writer's room at Deck 9, well, we have a pretty broad range. So I'm the lead writer. I'm the oldest writer. I'm 35. It's been a while since I was a terrible teenager. But our youngest writer, Mallory, is 20 and currently a student in film school in Colorado. So we do have for her, it's a little bit more recent, I think. And I think across the board, we're all pretty familiar with those worst aspects of our youth. And I think that's been one of the more fun elements of crafting Chloe, connecting to that past, yeah.
So we know the story you're telling takes place 3 years prior to the original Life is Strange. We're going to be following Chloe, but we don't really know a lot about, what the story is that we're going to be experiencing there. I'm sure a lot of that is by design.
Yeah.
But I know you've also said you wanted to tackle grief.
That's right.
That's like kind of like the big subject you're trying to tackle.
Yeah, I think you play the first game for 30 minutes, an hour, and you meet Chloe, and she's very obviously in this time in her life at that time, that's not a good place. She's 19, and Rachel Amber, this person who means so much to her, we don't know why yet, has gone missing, and she's this girl who's just plastering flyers up all over Blackwell Academy. And so what we really wanted to investigate and kind of explore is what about that relationship with Rachel motivated Chloe so strongly within that first story, so strongly and so obviously, like with an intensity that made her so furious that Rachel's gone, and learning about details of Rachel's relationship with Frank, who is a character in Before the Storm we're going to get to see. That hurt Chloe so much. But we never saw the actual details of what their relationship was like. So we're really excited about Before the Storm, giving players the chance to see that firsthand and to make decisions and have sort of agency within that moment when Chloe's meeting Rachel.
I mean, I think like looking back, teenage female friendships in particular can be very intense. How have you sort of kept that real? How have you, that's a hard thing to write because it's a very specific thing to teenage girls.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think so. The writers' room at Deck 9 has 2 men, 2 women. So we have a kind of gender diversity that I think gives us some help here. Really, I think it's about channeling as much as we can the aspects of, I think, adolescence, and when it comes to this theme of grief that we're exploring, the kind of universality of grief. But for us, it's having a culture in the room and at the studio that is a real open criticism of every line of dialogue, every beat of the story, making sure that what we're doing is as authentic as we can make it.
Tell us about writing a prequel. It must be an interesting challenge for a writer, because if you're writing a sequel, it's totally open-ended. Who knows where any of this can go? But when you're writing a prequel, you already have like the endpoints that you're going to bump up to.
Yeah. It's so I think there are pros and cons to it for sure.
Pros, pun intended.
Pros and yeah. So, well, on the one hand, the characters that Don't Nod created with the first Life is Strange are so amazing. Getting to tell a story within that universe and with those people, that's a gift. That's really fun. On the other hand, you're right. The canon that's created and that's established in what's essentially the future for Before the Storm is known, right? There's certain facts that we know about that story. We chose deliberately to situate our narrative 3 years before the events of the first game to carve out a space so that even the most diehard fans of Season 1, they won't know the ending of Before the Storm. They're not going to know where it's going to go because this isn't the story of Rachel Amber's disappearance. It's a different story. It's a mystery that we don't want to spoil too much about at this stage, but it has to do with what it's like for Chloe when she meets Rachel and why Rachel, the seemingly perfect girl who has everything she could want, so desperately needs the kind of strength that Chloe has at this particular chapter in her life.
Could you talk to us about some of the characters that you've revealed in between the last time we chatted at E3 and now?
Yeah, sure. So we had an AMA on Reddit where we did reveal that Samuel is coming back. Huge news. Chloe is at Blackwell, so a lot of the characters that we know from that school community we're going to be spending time with earlier on in their lives. So Nathan Prescott is a part of the story. Victoria Chase is there as well. We released some gameplay footage at Chloe's house where we see a text from a character named Steph, who's an all-new character for Before the Storm. She's in Chloe's grade. She's one of my favorite characters. I don't want to spoil too much about her, but she plays a pretty significant role in the story as well.
This is going to be a weird question,
like
but like if I was in your shoes, I would totally do this. Did you read a bunch of the Life is Strange fan fiction that was created after the game was released?
We read some,
right?
For sure, yeah.
Because, like, I mean, these sort of headcanons just have exploded because the first game was so resonated with so many people.
Yeah.
And I just, for me, I would have gone straight into the forums and be reading the fan fiction. I mean, has that influenced anything at all?
Yeah, I don't want to call out any one writer necessarily. I think all of from within the community, right? All of the writers at Deck 9 have obsessed in different ways about different sort of sources to bring to bear in crafting the story. So I know some writers have gone a little bit deeper into that world than others. For me, it was about kind of on a more somber note, reading a lot of grief memoir.
Right.
To get a sort of first-person account of people's losses and how they've processed that and how they've kind of lived with losing loved ones.
Now, even though there's no time travel in this game, is it true that there's at least one supernatural sequence that you're excited about?
Oh, definitely more than one.
Okay.
Yeah, Arcadia Bay is a really surreal place.
Yeah.
And we've taken a lot of joy in kind of going into that part of the world. So even though Chloe doesn't have a supernatural power, the ways in which we're exploring what her life is like right now definitely includes really strange and supernatural elements. It's a pretty vague way to say what I said, but
it's not quite Twin Peaks, though.
No, it's close. We're trying.
That's what we're aiming for. That's the tone. You're just days away from the release, Episode 1, Life is Strange Before the Storm. What are you most excited about for players to experience?
Every single second of Episode 1. I really can't wait to listen to the fan community, hear them, get to put the game in their hands and just see what they think, see what they feel.
Playing the original Life is Strange, the romantic angle was quite subdued. It was quite subtle.
Sure.
What is it like in Life is Strange? Is it Before the Storm? Is it more accessible?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
We're deliberately exploring Chloe and Rachel's relationship. There are a lot of really strong opinions about what that relationship means. I think the content in the first game is very clear that the relationship was significant, incredibly strong for Chloe. The details, whether or not it was romantic, in my opinion, it is deliberately ambiguous. But what we've built into Before the Storm is the opportunity for the player to explore a romantic relationship with Rachel and what that might mean, maybe more overtly than you'd see in the first game. Yeah.
Have you got your own sort of preference? I mean, is there sort of one, is there one story that you're like, yes, like players can choose what they want, but this is actually secretly canon?
I do. I don't want to say it. Keep it secret.
Maybe someday
down
the line.
Yeah.
For the 25th anniversary edition. Have you announced release dates for like Episode 2?
Not for 2 or 3 yet.
Okay.
Forthcoming.
So I'm just trying to think, how long are people going to have to wait to?
Hopefully not too long.
Hopefully not too long, yeah.
And all the episodes are about the same length?
That's right. So
they're about 4 hours, right?
2 to 4 hours of content. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
That's right.
And yeah, I mean, I'm also really interested, we've seen the mill, we've seen some of Blackwell. We go back to Blackwell.
Yep.
I mean, what other kind of environments and spaces are you exploring in Chloe's teenage world?
So spaces that are familiar are her house, obviously. I think we released footage of that, and you're going to get to interact with Joyce and with David, who's this very new presence in the Price house. He doesn't live there. He's dating Joyce, and that's a kind of invasion that Chloe and the player will have to deal with. Very quickly, in the course of Episode 1, we're going to see Chloe and Rachel kind of go to other places in Arcadia Bay that we've never been. They skip school. They have a sort of adventure. And I think that's going to be pretty exciting.
How fun has it been seeding Easter eggs into Before the Storm?
Well,
I mean, you must have done it.
Yeah.
You must have been trying to restrain yourself.
That's what it is. It's I think practicing the right kind of discipline. We're giant fans of the first game in the nerdiest way possible, so we want to put it. Our instinct at first is to put a lot of Easter eggs in.
Yeah. All right, Zach, thank you so much for coming back to the IGN stage. Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 1 is out very soon, August 31st.
Thank you, guys.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, more to come from IGN live at Gamescom. Coming up next.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom 2017. I'm Brian Altano. I'm here with Magda from the awesome new game Runer, which I am completely obsessed with all of a sudden. So tell me about this game.
Well, what can I tell you about this game? This is a really fast-paced, brutal action game. Twin stick shooter if you use the gamepad. But you know, for PC, I'd prefer using keyboard and mouse for more precision. But you know, this game came together as a result of many interests and passions of the people who came together, and each one of us put something in. So as you see, the graphics is like really, we try to bring back the spirit of the cult cyberpunk anime. The story is set in the future, but the future where you know, maybe technology is advanced, but the human problems are basically the same.
Right.
So yeah.
I absolutely love the art direction of this game. The cyberpunk aesthetic is clearly ringing true. Tell me about this main character and his cool helmet. That just, can you just project anything on there? Like, where is the messaging coming from on that helmet?
So actually, the character, the playable character design was one of the first things that we've come up with before we started working on the game, like full time. We knew that we wanted to have masked characters, that we wouldn't have to show their faces and kind of project something to the players, that actually with the mask the players can put their imagination inside the character and kind of imagine them, each one, you know, everyone for themselves. So the helmet was like, we were thinking maybe some projection mapping, a mask or some animalistic theme. But then Benedict Schneider, who's our creative director, came up with this LED display helmet. And this is kind of like interface, like literally and metaphorically. So this is the video that you see is a prologue. So you start as a guy who was hacked into killing a boss of a corporation. And all that you see is just this, you know, this message, kill boss, kill boss.
Yeah.
But later on, somebody else is using this interface to connect with you and to kind of guide you through what's happened and, you know, what you should do to kind of discover the truth and, you know, take revenge.
I'm really digging the traversal in this game. It's very quick and snappy.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of Hotline Miami aesthetic, but the way the character moves is completely different.
Yeah, basically, like, movement is life in this game. In Hotline Miami, there was a lot of tactics, and maybe you were waiting for the enemies to make the first move. Here, if you don't make the first move, they will make the first move and take advantage of your sloppiness. So, like, and the Hotline Miami reference might be true to an extent, but then it gets, like, the game is really different. You have many skills, abilities that you can upgrade. Like, you have 13 abilities. And you unlock them and can upgrade them, and to create your build, like, you can be really offensive, like a killing machine that you just grab your opponents and just kill them with your melee weapon or gun. But you can also unlock the abilities that enable you to manage your combat space, like kinetic barriers that slow down the enemies, or ghost break, with which you can hack your enemies and make them fight for you, so you could actually do nothing.
Oh, so you can actually sort of like play from a distance if you upgrade certain skills.
Yeah, totally. And the funny thing, the fun thing is that you are not stuck with the skills that you unlocked. You can at any moment just pause the game, go to the skill panels, reshuffle your skill points, make totally different build, and just go ahead with it and try how it works for you.
It's very just kind of triumphantly violent, which I love. It's a video game, so you're having a fun time with it. What sort of made you guys decide to lean into that much just blood splatter effect and the rest?
Well, you know, the game is about killing, obviously, like 90% of the games, and so when you're killing, so do it with style, right? It like we really, when we do something, we want to commit to it. So the art team, like they are really ambitious, and they really, like, until they reach a point where they're satisfied, they will fight until the end, right? So
their lust for blood shows no bounds.
Yeah, that's like it's been months. Like, this blood sucks. Yeah, like, we gotta change the blood. This color is not the color, like, literally. So yeah.
Yeah, there's this sort of like.
This is a work of art.
Yeah, there's kind of like, I don't know, there's something liberating about splattering that much blood everywhere. It's almost got this like kind of Splatoon effect, but much more mature.
Yeah, we could think about that kind of.
Now, tell me about some of the enemies in this game, because we're seeing sort of different enemy types pop in and out here.
Yeah, this is the general type of the enemy. They are civilian guards. they have different types. Like some are melee, some have one-handed guns, some have machine guns, some have shotguns. So it's the same with like you will encounter many different enemies. Some are super fast, some are augmented and super heavy and have jetpacks, and some just blink from one place to another. And each one of them has a different subtype as well. So like melee and one-handed, two-handed. Flamethrowers, like there are over 20 weapons in the game, and you can pick up any weapon that an enemy drops.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so there's different enemies actually force you to rethink your playstyle, because you won't be able to go through the game and finish it with just one setup. Like even the huge machine enemies that you will encounter that shoot at you with a big laser beam, you won't be able to win the fight with the same setup that you fight this light civilian guards or even the heavy exoskeleton mercenaries.
I was going to ask you about that because for the majority of the demo so far, even though we're in this like cyberpunk dystopian future, this dude's running around with just like a pipe, and it's like he doesn't have any technology. He's just got a pipe. Yeah,
you start with a pipe. Well, you were hacked into this. Like nobody thought like to make it easier for you. Like, yeah, let's make this dude kill the boss. Yeah? So yeah, and just go ahead and do it. So yeah, but later on you will be able to develop your melee. Also, among the abilities are the abilities that enable you to enforce your arsenal. So you have like more ammunition, or you can convert your energy to ammunition, or invest in your melee weapons. So you have the power attack for one-handed and two-handed weapons that, you know, gives extra damage and is spectacular.
So are you sort of upgrading your character and then that will kind of trickle into each weapon you pick up, or are you upgrading weapons individually?
You upgrade the character.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now, like, obviously Cyberpunk there's a huge like sort of resurgence for it. I mean, some would say it never really went away. We are getting a new Blade Runner movie. What were some of your influences in developing Runer?
Well, actually, we never wanted to make a cyberpunk game, and for a long time we thought, like, let's not call it cyberpunk because people will have expectations.
Right.
And so we still get comments like, there's not enough blue or purple color, only red, so it's not cyberpunk. Well, it's not cyberpunk. It's a game that we did, you know, from what we thought is the coolest thing ever. And it turned out kind of cyberpunkish because we all loved Ghost in the Shell, the original, I mean.
Sure.
Well, Blade Runner is obviously an important thing. Akira and all the Japanese anime. So, you know, the spirit of it, you know, the sharpness and the atmosphere, it's something that is maybe unique to Asian art. Not so much for the Western, because the Western art goes, especially movies and maybe games, it goes most into the psychology, and we are not so much, you know, into that. So, yeah, the cyberpunk is just... Cyberpunk is a retro future. It's right. Like, but it's actually happening right now. So it makes more sense to investigate the reality and see what's happening and kind of improvise, like, what might happen with that in, let's say, 50 years. Then to go back to Cyberpunk and take these ideas that are, you know, old school by now and try to make something of it, because it's already the past of the future that we thought it would be.
It's like paleofuturism, as I think the term for it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's I think it's fascinating that there's like expectations of a sort of color scheme for what cyberpunk is. But like you said, we're kind of living in a cyberpunk dystopia right now. So that's uplifting. Anyway, so are there bosses in this game that you can take down? Like, are there more than just sort of these sort of like base level grunt characters?
Yeah, there are bosses. Actually, like the game is divided into 3 big chapters. So each ends with a very, like, the most significant bosses. But throughout the game, each type of the enemy has their own boss. So when you meet the guards, you will have the leader guard. When you then fight a gang of creeps, the underground psycho gang, they also have their special bosses. There are 2 of them. So each of the enemies have their own special individuals as well.
So how did he convince all of these? Were they just like sort of like gutter punks and street kids? Did he just convince them all to just get out and get bloody?
The enemies?
Yeah, like what's their motivation? They just want to kill this guy?
Well, here, like, you know, here he just broke into the Heaven Corporation to kill the boss. So they are out there to stop him, because if they don't, you know, he will just stroll into the office and say goodbye to the boss. But other than that, like, so you are hacked to do this. Like, it's not your idea, but you're hacked. And it's like, whenever a player, it's like in Bioshock, right? Would you kindly do that? It's just like a play on the thing that in games you're always told what to do, and you just follow the orders. So the players learn to play the game by following the orders. And then you learn that you actually were hacked into this, and now you should play the real game, but even though you're still following the orders. So first you're tracking the guy who hacked you, and to get him, you had to fight the gangsters who are protecting him. So then after you hack him, you get the idea, because they also not just hacked you, but also took your brother to make sure you killed the boss.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
The sort of motivation of the main character here is he is rescuing his kidnapped brother.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of unfold that story?
Well, I cannot tell you that because that would be a spoiler.
So what can you tell me about the main character that isn't a spoiler? Because like he seems incredibly secretive right now, which I actually like. I don't want you to give too much away, but like,
yeah.
what's some sort of like little secrets you can give us?
Well, for me personally, it's interesting to hear what the players have to say about the character, because this is really inspiring. That because we didn't give him a face and emotions, just the basic brutality, and he's just a guy who's running, and he's good at killing. He's, so you can see him as a psychopath. You can see him as this, like lonesome cowboy, or a knight who is lost in the world. It's not really up to us to decide, because you're the player and you play the game and you feel the game, and you're kind of like making this guy who you want him to be or who you feel him to be.
I really like that. And I like that you designed a character that can be sort of like this lonesome guy on this like hero's journey, or he can just be a brutal murderer that just is out there because it's fun.
Yeah.
I assume. I've never killed
right.
anyone. So this is coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox, right?
Yes.
What's it been like developing for those systems? Has it been fun?
Well, it's been like we only started porting the game very recently. We started in March, and it's been insane because originally the plan wasn't to release simultaneously, but it just happened.
It was just PC to begin with, right?
Yeah, and then we wanted to of course port it to console, but then we had this opportunity to make the simultaneous release, and so we kind of like started working on it. And at first we were like, oh my god, we're not gonna make it, but then like little by little, and yeah, especially the latest month, it was like we were really not sure, but like with the awesome team that we have, like we managed to pull it off. And yeah,
it's like kind of, we're at this point where you see the Devolver Digital logo in the corner of something, and it's like reassuring. It's sort of like seeing like, like in the 90s, you'd find out about record labels when you're like growing up listening to music, and you're like, okay, if they made this game, then they're also making this game. Like there's sort of like this like kind of hip violence almost, I would use to describe their aesthetic. Like, what's it been like working with Devolver? Can you just sort of pitch anything and anything goes?
Well, no, Devolver is great in that they give creative freedom to their developers, and this is our responsibility to deliver the good game. They give tons of really constructive feedback, and they help organize testing and everything, but it's always up to us to make the final decision, and we take the responsibility for the game. So of course, there's a trade-off, because it's your responsibility, so it's your fault if it's wrong, right? But then I wouldn't imagine it any other way if we have someone in a suit comes and say like, no, this shouldn't be a century, this should be like something else. Yeah.
No, that's a good problem to have, is sort of the creative freedom. This that map we just saw for a second there looked fantastic. There's a lot of sort of the way we're seeing different aesthetics come together. Like here you have hand-drawn like character poses, bringing together cutscenes. How did all that together? Are you working with a bunch of different artists?
No, actually, all the handmade art is Benedict Schneider, our creative director, and the environment team is basically 2 people with the support of the FX animation and technical artists, but they are 2 guys who are putting it all together. So, yeah, but we wanted the game to be a comic book-like experience. So there's also not too much text, because it would interrupt the flow of the game. It kind of gives you the hints, but you can also skip it. Yeah, but the different aesthetics, I mean, it all comes together to the same color palette, the same atmosphere. So they are different means, different technologies that we bring together to kind of show the world and bring the players into it.
Awesome. Congrats on making such an awesome-looking, violent-as-hell game. I can't wait to play it.
Thank you.
Ruiner is out September 26th for PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Magda, thank you so much. We'll be covering games all week long right here for Gamescom at IGN, so stick around.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
This is the IGN show.
Oh no, stop calling me.
Hey, Willie.
The IGN show, weeknights at 9:30, only on DXP.
Fear you, I do not.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. It's time to take another look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm here with Toby, who brought the game by our E3 booth a couple months ago, and he showed us an early look at the game in like the first town area, I think.
Exactly. Yes.
And then today you're going to give us a little bit more of a look into the combat. Is that right?
Of course, yes. Let's fight a little bit. Let's see how the medieval knights actually fought.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because like you said, this is the whole idea behind this game is you're trying to make a historically accurate RPG.
Exactly. That's one of the pillars. So of course there's a story we want to tell, but still we want to try to bring up or show a realistic medieval game, an RPG that, well, has no magic and dragons, but the real medieval fencing, which is called actually HEMA. But yeah, so we try to have cool sword fighting, things that actually really happened back then. So real moves, you can attack the head, you can do combos like a little bit like Tekken, so left, right, up, and then you throw him on the ground. So it's very, very tricky. If you want to compare it, it's maybe a little bit like Dark Souls, like in terms of like the hardness, the difficulty, but still, well, it's an RPG, so you can get better, you can level up, it will help you somehow, but you always, and that's very important, need that personal skill, because if you screw up, you can screw up in the beginning with some regular farmer who kills you, but the same guy can potentially even kill you in the end if you're just not good enough to fight.
Well, so you start out the game just kind of like a regular guy. You're not a soldier in the beginning of the game, right?
Very right.
So it looks like we're a little bit more advanced here in what we're seeing.
Yes. So yeah, exactly as you said, you are a commoner. You will always stay a commoner, kind of, but you get in the service of a noble, and you kind of rise in the ranks, but you will always stay a soldier. So we want to make it realistic. So we will never become a king, but you will get involved into a civil war. You will get dragged into this war, and then you have from like fencing schools where you have to train with different trainers. You will then have to encounter bandits, or they will encounter you, so you have to fight back. But what's also very important is, and that's the cool part actually, that there will be castle sieges, there will be big skirmishes. You can fight with with several people against each other. You can decide, and again, it's an RPG, so you can decide if you want to be in the first row with the heavy axe and then smash them to the ground, or if you would rather want to be third row and shoot with the bow.
Yeah, I'd probably rather be the third row myself. I'm
Well,
more of a third row guy.
I think it's really cool to be in the front, but then you have them. Well, we have an AI system which knows what you do, and they try to flank you. So this will be then super tricky when all of a sudden there are 3 guys around you. But yeah, so that's something you will be able to encounter.
So you're doing a few things that are unusual. Not only it's a historically accurate RPG, but also you don't see too many first-person melee games. That's still a little unique.
Yes. We thought that the first idea was to make it immersive as possible. So we decided to have this historical, or the story that really happened. Your personal story is fictional, but the story you are living through, or the game you are playing through, these things really happened. Most of the NPCs really lived. However, we decided to make it first person only, to really throw you inside this medieval world, and we try to make the game as awesome looking as possible, put up the graphics high to really give you the feeling that I am now Henry, that's the one you are playing. I am Henry, I grab that sword, and I have to survive against this dude. So as you said, we do some things different, so our combat system is so hard that you really have to focus in every combat, because it could be your last.
Yeah. So tell us about the little star icon on the enemy here. I assume that represents his limbs and head? Or?
Kind of, yes. Okay. That's when you lock into you can always unlock. So for those who are triggered right now, it's a lock for if you want to fight with someone. We need that because you are able to do the different combos. And the star system represents the different angles of attack, where you can aim for his head, for the shoulders, or for the bottom parts. And if you with the I prefer to play on the controller, but or a mouse, whatever. But I like the controller. So with the right bumper stick, you can choose from where you want to attack. So if you, for example, want to attack the head, you just move up, and then you can attack the head. This makes sense because we have something we call physical collision model. So if you see that the opponent has no helmet, attack his head, because you will then kill him eventually in one hit. However, if he has full plate armor, we have stone, paper, scissors system. If he has full plate armor, you cannot penetrate it with a sword, so you need to a little bit see and observe what's happening there, and the opponent does the same. So if you have a weak spot, like no helmet, for example, he will also try to aim for your head.
Interesting. Now, to my eye, the animations look very realistic. Is that something you put a lot of time into?
Yes, exactly. We invited historians. Well, in the beginning we thought it's enough to just talk to them, but then we realized that we had to hire a historian to our team to help us to recreate the stuff. But we also invited people who are doing medieval fencing. So they told us how the medieval fencing in the 15th century looked like. We told them why this is not possible for a video game, and together we created a compromise to make it as realistic as possible. But the reasons are obvious. The fighter wants to be as unpredictable as possible, so there's almost no moves, and one blow and then he's dead, the opponent. But of course, as a player, you want to see what's happening there, so we have this broader moves where you see what the opponent is doing, so you don't need actual 3 months of real sword fight training to beat your opponent.
But if you do have real sword training, will that be beneficial to you here?
Well, yes and no. I mean, you can at least see what kind of combos they are doing, because in Europe there's a book which is called Talhofer, and this book is one of the earliest, or maybe the earliest, representation of medieval fencing. It was a book only painted there, so there were different paintings of fighting styles, and we took this book and recreated those combos. So these combos are actually something that for someone who is trained in fencing, who might recognize at least what's going to happen. So there was a little green shield in the middle for those who spotted this. Too, because attacking is not always the best option. We can also block, of course, which makes sense. But this small green shield, it's there for like a millisecond or so. We just saw it. It gives you a time slot or a window for a perfect block. Okay. And if you are really quick, you will even be able to do a riposte, or like a counter attack. So you block it and immediately slash back. So you have this back and forth, which is pretty cool. And now we are fighting a guy with a full plate armor, and this is of course way harder because he's pretty much a medieval tank.
Are you able to knock the armor off of him?
Yes and no. You can destroy it if you really attack the head a lot, for example. Then it will eventually crack, and then it will make more damage. But again, we have this stone paper scissors system. So don't use a sword against full plate armor. Use a mace and crash him to
we did see
death in his tin.
Yeah, I did know some footage where you were using a shield and a mace.
Yes. Well, I'm more the aggressive type in this in our game. So I prefer the 1.5 sword, so really with two-handed sword fighting. However, of course, if you're more defensive, use the shield, which is good for the blocks are then way easier. But since you have a short sword, then it's like you have the distance to your opponent is much shorter, and then they can get you as well. And if you see someone with a hellbeard running towards you, then try to find someone who helps you, because he's super far away, and this will be very hard to get into a melee fight with him.
Would you say there's a large variety of weapons in the
game? Well, definitely we try to recreate or bring all the medieval weapons that were common back then. The only one we will not bring are chain weapons, like Morningstar and stuff, because technical reasons. Since we have this collision model and we would have those animations, when the stars would bounce back from the opponent, you would hit yourself, and these kind of struggles. So we just skipped it for this time. We'll see maybe what the future brings. And these are some of the brawls. This is actually a smaller brawl. This is taken from a quest called Raubritter, which is like a bad, thievy knight who started to raid the country, or to the countryside. And and that's very important. This quest this brawl skirmish only happens because the player, or me who was recording it, wanted it to happen. What I mean is that this quest can also be solved in a peaceful way. Fighting is a huge thing in the game, but the game is not about fighting per se. It's just something it's an RPG. So if you want to fight, grab your sword and make those fights happen. However, if you would go there earlier, you could try to use your diplomatic skills and say, hey, listen, we are going to come tomorrow, we will going to kill you, and he will say, okay, well, then I'm going to leave. And this will have a different outcome later in the story, because you got this quest from a higher lord, and he will then be very angry that you send away the thieves, and so on and so on. So everything you do, or in general, we give you a quest in Kingdom Come, like kill or find the bandit lord, and how you get there and what you actually do with him is then up to you. So it's really like an RPG system that asks you what you want to do, and we don't grab you by the hand and drag you through the game.
Are we seeing an example of that here? Because it looks like we're restarting the skirmish.
I'm restarting. I was restarting the skirmish to show that you can do different stuff. However, I'm only showing this particular quest line, or this quest path here, where this skirmish actually is going to happen. But as I said earlier, you can grab different weapons, you can do different stuff here. There's on the left, you can barely see it, but we will eventually see it in a second. There are archers on the top, so if you decide to not go to in the fight in the first row, you can go up to the mountain and try to shoot them with the bow. Or, and that's also pretty interesting and maybe a little bit cowardly, you can just observe and wait what's happening, because this skirmish does not have to you don't have to necessarily win this skirmish to continue in the game. What I mean is that if your commander who's there in the front, if he's calling for retreat, then your soldiers will run away, right? And then you are still there alone on the battlefield. So you can either run with them and then you kinda lost the quest, but it will continue somehow, or but he survived.
He's up.
But he survived.
All right, he's fine, everybody. He's gonna be okay.
He had a very good breakfast. However, if you stay on the battleground then, and your army run away, your guys are running away, and you stay on the battleground, then you can try to kill this bandit lord your own. You can go there and try to do sneaky stuff and poison their food, so you don't have to fight at all, and just wait in the forest. That's the archer spot I was saying, but I missed the first shot. However, they are talking some dirty talk, shouting at each other right now. But the first moment I hit someone, the quest triggers immediately, so it's really not like stupidly waiting for something. But as I said, you can either win or lose depending on how your friends are doing. And of course, you can have great impact if you just enter the fight as well and are successful with killing. Then you will turn the odds to your favor.
And you were saying this is more of like a mid-sized skirmish here?
This is a small-sized skirmish, actually. So the biggest one we will have is, of course, like the big finale, castle siege, with guys dragging ladders and throwing it on the wall, and then you can, like, crawling up the wall, look left and right, and you see how they're running up. I'm really looking forward, really excited to show this to the web, but it would be a little bit spoiling, so we need to wait there. But this will be super cool, and the castle siege is where you then have to, like, conquer the stuff. However, it's not like you say I'm now going to conquer this castle. Everything is story, like part of the story. So you cannot just say I'm going to raid this stud farm or I'm going to attack this castle. Everything is connected to the story, to the main storyline. However, you can of course branch away and do side quests and stuff and do whatever you want. But if you want to push the story forward, and castles have to be sieged or were really sieged, so you have to go through the main quest.
Well, that is a quick look at some of the combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Continues to look very cool. The game is out in February, which I think you were telling me earlier is just about 4 years exactly since you launched your Kickstarter for the game. Is that right?
Exactly. So we are launching the game on February 13, 2018, so one day before Valentine's Day, so you have your Valentine's Day presents. However, it's almost exactly 4 years after we launched our Kickstarter party. So this is really happening. This is really a thing. Kingdom Come is going to come very soon. And the biggest excitement for us, for me right now, is not only that I'm sitting next to you, but that we have a huge booth in the public hall. So for the fans who want to play and try the game, they can come to our booth in Hall 9, and together with our partners from Deep Silver, we created some really cool stuff and merch, so come for merch. And so this is really happening, and we are really excited to show it to the world.
Toby, thank you so much for coming by the show again.
Thank you for inviting.
That is Kingdom Come Deliverance. Stay tuned, more to come from IGN Live here at Gamescom after this.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. Final Fantasy 15 is coming to PC. Here to tell us all about it is Tabata-san himself, and Gavin will be translating for us today. Gentlemen, welcome to the IGN stage.
Thanks a lot. It's good to be here today.
So, tell us all about it. Final Fantasy 15 on PC.
まずはFinal Fantasy 15の PC 版について教えていただけますでしょうか。
はい、昨日ね発表させてもらったんですけれども、Windows ストアと、あと Origin と、Steam に向けて来年の前半に発売することになった、Windows エディションですね。
Okay, so this is the Windows edition of the game. We actually announced it yesterday, and it's going to be coming to Steam, to Origin, and to the Windows Store.
でこれもう簡単に言うとめちゃめちゃ綺麗な FF15 です。
And if you sum it up really briefly, it's an incredibly beautiful, really great-looking Final Fantasy 15 game.
でまたマウスとキーボードでしっかりとその PC ゲーミングにしっかり対応しているというところが特徴。
One of the other main features of it is that it's completely optimized and customized to work as a PC game with a keyboard and mouse control scheme.
さらにファーストパーソンモードっていう、そこでも PC ゲーマーが好むような遊び方、それにちゃんと対応しているっていうところが昨日まで発表した内容ですね。
And in the other thing we announced in the announcement yesterday was that another big feature of it is it's got first-person play mode, which is obviously a mode that PC gamers are very familiar with and they look for in games.
Yeah.
Did you guys announce a release date?
その発売日は発表しました。
一応2018年前半。
It's early 2018.
Okay.
はい。で今回ね細かい仕様まで全部紹介することができなかったので、例えばPC ゲームならではのいろんなそのもっと詳細な機能っていうものも検討してるんだけど、それは秋までに、 皆さんに告知したいなと思ってますね。
And also, we didn't have the chance to announce a lot of the more detailed technical specifications and stuff, obviously things that PC gamers will want to know about. But we should get all the finalization of that ready together, finish looking into that, and we'll be able to announce that probably later on in the autumn this year.
あとそうだ、コンソールバージョンを去年僕ら11月に発売してるんですけど、その後にずっとゲームの内容を改良してきてるんですね。
And we released the console version I think last autumn winter kind of period, and we've been continuously upgrading and improving upon the game since then.
それは発売しておしまいではなくて、その後もゲームを改良することで長くファンの皆さんに遊んでもらうためにやってたんですが、そのずっと改良してきた内容がちゃんとこの PC バージョン、Windows エディションには入るし、あとはDLC も基本的には全部入れるつもりで今準備を進めてます。
So we did that in order to keep giving back to the fans who played the game and to make sure they can enjoy the game for as long as possible and have as much fun as possible. And all of those upgrades and updates will be included in the PC version as well, alongside all of the DLC that will have released by then for the console versions.
Are you planning any specific DLC just for the Windows edition?
で、Windows 版専用のこれだけの DLC は何か予定されてるんですか？
今それは予定はしてないね。だけど Windows 版のみに入れようと思っているゲームシステムというか機能があるね。
I mean, there's no specific DLC we're planning just to add to the Windows version. There are a number of game features that we're only going to do for the PC version.
その中の一つはやっぱりモッドの機能に対応したいなと思ってます。
And of course, that's one of those is mod support, as we're looking at.
Interesting.
で FF15 ってやっぱりなんだろう、一つのゲームの体験がユーザーそれぞれによって違うっていうことを大事にしているので、そのモッドの機能でいろんな遊び方ができるっていうのはぜひ提供したいと思っているものの一つです。
I mean, one of the things about Final Fantasy 15 and the way the game is that every individual player is going to have their own journey, their own experience within the game, and we think that fits in very well with the idea of mods. So we really want to allow players of the PC version to be able to do that.
ただこれ結構仕様が複雑なので、もうちょっとしっかりと仕様を詰めて、それからこういう遊び方を提供しますよっていうのを改めて別の機会に言いたいなと思ってますね。
Of course, getting the specs and the technical side of that sorted out is actually quite complicated, so we're going to take a little bit more time to do that. But as soon as we finalize all of the full details of that, we'll get that information out to people.
Are there any unusual or crazy mods you would personally like to see added to the game?
個人的に見たいすごい変なすげえ面白いようなモッド何か想像できます？
それを言うといろいろ批判されるからちょっと言いにくいね。
I think if I started saying what I really thought, I'd get a lot of complaints coming into me, so I have to hold back on that.
僕はでも言っちゃうけど一番見たいのはこの FF15 のパーティーが例えばマリオとか。
I mean, we maybe see the main party of guys here, see them as Mario and Link and Nintendo characters maybe.
みたいになってるのはちょっと見てみたいです。
Yeah, I'd love to see the party turn into something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
いや、見てみたいですね。
はい。っていうのが昨日発表したこのWindows エディションで、もう一個今日の午前中にアナウンスしたものがあるんです。
And that was the Windows edition that we announced yesterday. We also announced another new thing earlier on this morning.
これはね FF15 の中でも一番ハイエンドなのが今の Windows エディションね。
So the high end, the top quality version of the game is the Windows edition we were just talking about.
でその FF15 の中でも最もカジュアルなじっくり遊ぶんじゃなくてサクサク遊ぶための FF15 っていうのをさっき紹介したんです。
What we introduced this morning actually was a completely different approach. It's a much more casual version of Final Fantasy 15. You can play much more quickly on the go, and that's this version.
もしそれビデオが今出るならちょっと
We've got a video of that. I think it'd be nice to look at that.
Yeah, well, we can see if we can bring that up. This is still the Windows edition.
これはWindows version. Yeah, this is the Windows version. Yes.
Yeah.
Windows エディションはこういう風にやっぱりグラフィックスがすごく強化されているところをみんなには見てほしいね。
Yeah, no, I mean, what I want everyone it's just gone from the screen. What I want everyone to really pay attention to the Windows version is how advanced and how much better looking the graphics are on that version.
Yeah, it's definitely the prettiest version of the game that I've seen.
Yeah, 今まで見てる一番美しいバージョンですよね。確かに。Really, wow.
But you were just telling us, is it about the Pocket Edition?
今ポケット版の話してますね。
そう。
15.
これだね。
This is the one here.
これがねポケットエディション。
This is the Pocket Edition we see here.
Yeah, so tell us about. Obviously, it looks very different.
これ見てみてかなり違うんですけど、どういうゲームですかね。
これはポケットエディションですね。F15 の。
This is the Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition.
一番身近なデバイスってスマートフォンだと思うんだけれども、プレイヤーにとってね、そのスマートフォンでもういつでも始めれていつでもやめられる、もうサクサク遊ぶための FF15 です。
I mean, I think obviously the game playing device that most people will have closer to them at all times is going to be their smartphone. And the idea behind the Pocket Edition is you can just play casually and quickly whenever you've got the time, pick it up and then put it away again. And like that kind of play.
コンソールバージョンとか Windows エディションっていうのは本当広い世界で綺麗な世界でじっくり遊ぶっていうゲームのプレイに適していると思うんだけども、それは スマートフォンではあまり適してないと思うんだよね。
I mean, certainly the console and the PC versions are these kinds of massive, epic, open-world games where you can spend a long time and really get deeply involved in the world. But that kind of gameplay and that kind of style is not really that suitable for a smartphone game.
そうだから忙しい人とかでももうおすすめだし、あまり普段ガツッとコンソールゲームなんか遊ばないっていう人たちにもおすすめなのがこのポケットエディションですね。
So I really recommend this console edition to people who are very busy in their lives. They don't have time to play the console PC versions, or maybe they're not the kind of people who do spend those kinds of long times playing console games, but they may be very much interested.
これね、すべて画面はタップで操作できるんです。
You can control everything with tapping on the touchscreen.
で敵をタップするとそいつにオートで攻撃してくれて、時々連携ができるような時にはパッとそういうボタンが出てくるから、それをまたタップすればいい。
So you can attack enemies just by tapping on them on the screen. You'll run over and attack them automatically. Then occasionally during combat, you'll get some icons appearing on the side of the screen which allow you to initiate a combo, a chain attack with them, and things like that.
It seems like you've included a lot of the main console game here. Driving, chocobo riding, combat. You still have the cooking in there.
いや今の見るとですね、チョコボとか車とかバトルとかもう全部入ってるようですけど、その料理とかも入ってるんですか？
一応料理も入ってますよ。
Yeah, the cooking still in there, yes.
だけどすごくコンパクトに入ってます。
It's a very compact, very cut down version of the system.
なんかその海外旅行するときにフリーで旅行するか、パッケージのツアーで旅行するかみたいな違いが結構ある。
I suppose you could describe the difference there as if you go on holiday abroad, then you either go for the package or the self-catering, and this is more the package tour version.
Yeah, sure.
でポケットエディションは10エピソードに全部を分けていて、でその1エピソードずつを購入してもらうっていう形で提供する予定。
And the pocket version is split into 10 different episodes. You can buy each of those individual episodes separately.
多分秋の間に配信すると思います。
And I think we should be able to get that released around autumn this year.
はい。
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is a look at two very different versions of Final Fantasy 15, the Windows Edition and the Pocket Edition, but they both look very cool. Thank you so much for coming by the IGN stage.
はい。
今日本当に時間くれ避けてくださってありがとうございました。
で今紹介したのは全部 FF15 のブースで遊べますので、ぜひゲームズコムの会場に来られる人は体験してください。
And all of these things that we showed today will be available to play on the Square Enix booth at Gamescom this year. So please, if you're coming to the Gamescom event, why not come along and try them out?
どうもありがとう。
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. But if you're not coming to Gamescom, then stay put. We will continue bringing all the hottest games of Gamescom to you right after this.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
This is the IGN show.
Oh no, stop calling me.
Hey, Willie.
The IGN show, weeknights at 9:30, only on DXP.
Fear you, I do not.
Ahoy, mateys! Rory here and Daniel Blonde Hair. We've just been checking out Sea of Thieves.
You probably figured that out by now.
Yes!
It's too much, mate. Like,
Too much?
Yeah, we've been playing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
This is very disconcerting.
Try
anyway,
lose the...
yeah.
Okay.
So we played for about like 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite thing in the demo we played?
My favorite thing was possibly getting fired from a cannon by one of my own shipmates into a shipwreck.
Well, I should say it was me. So we found a shipwreck and we saw it on the horizon and it was too far to swim. So we got in a cannon. I aimed it perfectly, perfect height, and landed you straight there. Fast travel.
It was impressive. The only problem was, as soon as we showed up, as soon as you get to a shipwreck, obviously you want to start looking for treasure. Got to get that booty.
Yeah, so you've got to get the treasure, Rory.
Booty.
Yeah.
Got to get the booty.
Yeah, you're a pirate, I get it.
But then a shark showed up halfway through our adventure.
Yeah, well, you could. Well, the thing is, you were pointing it out to me because he was like really behind my back.
Right.
And then I shot him with a cannon in the face.
And it was quite sad. At the end of my capture, I was just kind of watching this adorable little shark just sink to the bottom.
You were mourning him. You were like guarding him to the depths.
It was quite sad. But, you know, it's a fun game, and it seems like it's one where you kind of make your own adventure as
It
you
is
play.
absolutely that, though. We had like 5 different maps that we could choose from. We were looking at the big map on the ship, trying to match up islands, and then we were trying to find that treasure once we got to those islands.
Yeah, I'm excited to play a little bit more during the show. So that's it, I think, for our coverage on Sea of Thieves at Gamescom. But for more game coverage all this week, stay tuned right here to the mighty ship, IGN. Daniel, where are we going?
Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. Brian and I are just hanging out with the team behind Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Welcome to the show.
IGN にようこそ。
はい。
Thank you very much.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the NT in the title, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, actually stands for something, but I can't remember what it is.
確かジシリア NT に何か意味があるんですけど、ちょっと覚えられないんですが、教えていただけますでしょうか。
そうですね。意味いくつかありますっていうふうにお返事はしてるんですけれど、メインになってくるのはニューテイルっていう話をしています。新しい物語っていうのが、メインの意味になってくるかなと思ってます。
There are various meanings that we can answer towards what NT actually stands for, but the real one, the main one, is new tale. So, you know, the beginning of a new story.
Sure.
We're used to that at IGN. We have no idea what our letters stand for.
That's actually true.
IGN によくあることです。何の意味とか全然忘れますから。
So this is a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters. It's actually an arcade game from a couple years ago that you're translating to PlayStation 4. Can you tell us about that? What it's like porting an arcade game to a home console?
ジシリアに関してなんですけれども、FF シリーズキャラクターがいっぱい出てきますが、以前日本でアーケードっていうゲームで聞いておりますが、これから PS4 版に移動することにあたって何か情報とか教えていただけますでしょうか。
そうですね。言ってきます。そうですね。ゲームの根幹部分は3対3のバトルなんですね。でそれはアーケードでも家庭用でも基本的には変わりはないです。ただ、例えばそうですね、クジラ岡、彼がディレクターなんですけど、彼の方でやってくれてるのが通常の3対3のバトル以外のルールっていうのを例えば作ったりであるとか、あと一番大きいのはあれですかね、やっぱりアーケードにないストーリーをちゃんとその家庭用にはご用意するっていうところになるかと思います。
So a huge part of Dissidia NT is the 3 formation that it has, and we've seen that in the arcade version, and that's also going to be in the PS4 version as well. But the director Kujiroka-san is working on things, you know, to develop not just the 3 but to bring in other things, other rules, and other elements to the game. And one of them being the story that's going to follow throughout the whole entirety of the game itself.
So I guess, like, how do you balance the difficulty of an arcade game versus making a home console game? I grew up playing arcade games, and you know, you put money in, then you die, and then you put more money in. But on a console, you don't really have that. So how does that come home?
アーケードにあたってバランス取ることなんですけれども、バトルのバランスについてお聞きしたいんですけれども、以前アーケードということはお金を入れてそれで戦ってで死ぬみたいな形になっておりますが、今回家庭コンソールに変えることにあたってそのバランスの取ること自体に教えていただけたらと思います。
そうですね。ゲーム内容自体はアーケードと基本的には同じなんですが、お金入れなくても遊べるっていうのが一番でかいですけど、とりあえず一回ここでいきましょう。
So within the game itself, obviously there's pretty much that's exactly the same. The only difference is you don't have to put money in every single time.
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
I mean, some games are like that even today.
That's true.
そういうゲームでもありますもんね。
日本のお客さんに怒られそうな。
We're going to get in trouble with the Japanese customers that still have to pay.
I think there are four different character types: heavy, speed, shoot, and unique. Some of those are self-explanatory. What's the unique character type all about?
4つのキャラクターのタイプが確かあるかと思うんですけれども、そのスペシャリスト、特別なタイプについて、それはどのようなタイプになるんですか？
そうですね。どのタイプにも属さない、スペシャルなユニークな特性を持っているキャラクターなんですけど、例えばバトル中に大きく性能が変わるタイミングがあったりとか、他のタイプには全く属せないような特殊な性能を持ってたりとかっていうところで、バトルの中でかなり異色となるタイプになっているので、特に個性を際立たせたい プレイヤーの人はそれを選ぶ傾向が日本では特に強いかなとは思います。
Okay. So these characters really have the ability to literally to be the special kind of type, special kind of character class, and they could completely change the flow of any battle. They have the ability to to differ, change the balance and everything like that. So they're really what we recommend for the kind of player that wants some individuality in their gameplay, because you can really find that with the specialist class.
Who do you recommend a sort of starter player should pick at the beginning?
した経験のない人、にお勧めするキャラクターを教えてください。
キャラクター、そうですね。まあ遠距離から戦いたいのか近距離から戦いたいのかでやっぱり人によって違うと思うんですけど、特に人気の高いクラウドとかは特に最初に使うにしてはシンプルなシステムにはなってるかなと思いますね。
Mainly the difference in how I would recommend the character is whether you want to attack from far away or from close up. That's kind of one of the main things that would separate the two. But generally for a beginner, I would recommend Cloud, obviously well known, and the makeup of him as a character is very good.
Cool. So this is a 3-on-3 fighting game. Each player chooses a character, and then is it true that each team chooses one summon that they can use in battle? Is this correct?
今回3対3という形になっておりまして、プレイヤーたちがまずキャラクターを選択します。で選択してから次から召喚を選ぶことになっているのは間違いないでしょうか。
はい、そうですね。召喚獣っていうのはパーティーにつけるアクセサリーみたいな立ち位置で、さらにバトル中に条件を満たすと4人目の仲間として一緒に戦ってくれる、一定時間戦ってくれるという特徴があるので、パーティーのその時マッチングしたプレイヤーたちの選んだキャラクターの組み合わせに応じて召喚獣を切り替えていくとより有利に戦えると思います。
Yes, that's right. So the players pick the summon that they like as a team, and that kind of becomes like almost an accessory to their party. And once summoned, it joins the party in battle, and they play together almost like 4 players. So how you what summon you choose really reflects, as a party, what kind of types of characters you are, and that can really affect, with the buffs and debuffs. So we think you should really match what summon goes well with your 3 characters and your playstyle as well.
So on your 3-person team, who can use the summon, or can any of them use it?
その3体組のチームに誰が召喚できるんですか？
召喚のシステムはですね、画面の左上にある召喚ゲージが溜まったら召喚ができるようになるんですけど、1人で押すこともできれば3人で同時に呼ぶこともできるんですね。で3人で協力した方が早く呼べます。1人でも呼べるので、例えば仲間が、敵の気を引いているうちに1人が呼ぶということも可能になっているので、そこはパーティーの戦略によるところですね。
Yes, so to talk about the summon system, there's a bar on the left of the screen, as you can see top left of the screen, and there's different ways of how you can summon the summons. You could have one player summon them, or all 3, and if all 3 players summon them at the same time, it's actually faster than one on their own. But that depends on what strategy you want to go with. So you could have one person deliberately summon them slowly while the other 2 defend the team, or all 3 of them could work together. That depends entirely on your gameplay.
So we're seeing a lot of sort of different stages here. We saw like a carnival level, this like kind of cybernetic tunnel. There was the beach area. How does the levels kind of flow into each other here?
で、ステージについてお聞きしたんですけれども、今見てる限りカーニバルとか島、ビセイド島とか、そういういっぱい見ていますが、そのどのような形でステージが出てきますか？
そうですね。そのナンバリングのタイトルごとの象徴的なシーン。でもしその原作を途中でやめてしまったとしても、その多くの人が見ているであろうシーンっていうところを主に選んでおります。なんでよくキービジュアルから拾ってきたりっていうことが多いですかね。
So we've taken the different stages from the Final Fantasy numbering, the main games. We've kind of taken the most important scenes that we feel there are. So even if you haven't played it through the whole entire game, you haven't cleared it, the players are probably going to know what they're looking at, what stage they are and stuff. So the most well-known stages, we've tried to make sure they're in there for the game.
While still kind of keeping them spoiler-free?
でもまたスポイラー、情報をあえて過ぎないようにとかしてますかね。
この先も当然先行しているアーケード版ではステージを追加の予定はあるので、それも当然 NT には入るんですけど、 何がどこが出てくるのかっていうのはお楽しみにっていうところですね。はい。
Yeah, there are going to be, some more specialist stages that are going to come out, especially with the new NT we're releasing, but we can't tell any more of that, and we're not going to spoil anything for the players on that side either, of course.
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Is everything unlocked from the beginning, like all the characters and the stages, or is there an unlock system where you have to like play a certain amount to?
すべて最初の段階で、キャラクターとステージがもう解錠されていますか、それともこれからプレイしながら解錠されていきますか？
基本的にはもう全部のキャラクターステージが買ってその瞬間から遊べるようにはなっています。でさらにその発売後には、アップデートというか DLC でキャラクターの追加も予定しているので、現在予約中のシーズンパスなんかはもうすでにキャラクターの6体っていうところはお約束しているところなので、そこら辺もぜひお楽しみにしていただければと思います。
So from the beginning, all of the characters and stages are unlocked, but we are actually planning a DLC, some downloadable content which you can pre-order already, the seasonal pass, and this features 6 new characters.
What about sort of alternate costumes or anything like that? Can we see maybe one for Cloud that looks kind of chunky old school?
装備はいかがですか？例えばクラウドの伝統的な装備とかあったりしますか？
そうですね。そこまで数は多くはないんですけど、スキンを変えられる仕組みは用意していて、キャラクターの衣装とあとは武器をそれぞれユーザーの好きなように着せ替えることができます。
There's not many different skins that you can change into, but yeah, the players will be able to change the clothes and their weapons.
でこれらは特にゲームに性能的に差は生まれないので、各プレイヤー自身が好きなものを選んでもらえればいいかなと。
And there won't be any difference in the stats or anything. It's more what the player wants to choose for themselves and what they like and their individuality.
The cosmetic change.
Yeah, cosmetic change.
Is the character roster the same as the arcade version, or have you added additional characters?
出てくるキャラクターが日本のアーケード版と同じですか？それとももう新しいキャラクター出ますか？
基本的にはアーケードにいるキャラクターがすべて NT には入っていることになります。で、その後追加されていくキャラクターに関しても、基本並行して追加していくことにはなりますね。
So fundamentally, all of the characters that are in the arcade version at the moment are in the NT, Dissidia NT, but the additional downloadable content and thereafter, we will potentially change who's in and what's happening.
Very cool. Does Dissidia Final Fantasy NT have a release date?
発売日がもう予定されてますか？
はい。来年ですね。2018年の1月30日かな。はい、発売になります。
Yes, next year, 30th of January is the release date.
Very cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
すごいな。
Stay tuned, more to come from IGN Live here at Gamescom after this.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Hey, I'm Roy Powers here at Gamescom 2017, and I'm going to give you a tour of the Microsoft booth. Let's go! So first up, they got a lot of different stations all around here where you can go in, play different games, check out what they got coming up. Games like Hunt Down, Pez, Halo Wars 2, Minion Masters, Pastries, Smoke. One of the coolest things they actually have here is the Xbox Design Lab. Now here at the station you can design your own custom controllers and order them so you can actually play with your own custom controller on your Xbox. They got an exclusive Gamescom edition. It feels surreal. I just want to... And as you can see over here, these are just some of the controllers that people have made so far. Oh Jesus, I thought there was glass there. You can actually touch it. And finally, a very special section where you can check out the brand new Xbox One X. To be fair, it looks very cool. So that was our tour of the Xbox booth. Hope you liked it, and stay tuned all this week for the very latest Gamescom coverage.
Welcome back to IGN Live. I'm here talking Wolfenstein 2 with Tommy, the lead narrative designer of Wolfenstein 2. I don't even know where to begin to create a world like this, like you have, to bring these characters together. What's it like writing this game?
I mean, it's been an absolute blast writing this game, and writing it together with my writing partner Jens Mattis, who's the creative director of Wolfenstein. There's been just so many creative highs we've gone through in these years. It's been absolutely incredible.
So tell me about the main character for people who aren't completely versed in the Wolfenstein series, and I think maybe they'll start to understand why this is such a fun thing for you to work on.
Yeah, I mean, BJ is the original hero from the Wolfenstein 3D, and you know, he's this stereotypical 80s American action hero, and what we've done is to sort of explore that character, that super heroic character, and add a lot of, you know, humanity, and explore some of the more layered depths of him, and that's been super fun to explore in our writing.
Which I think is really fascinating because we, you know, in the 80s and 90s, we had a lot of video game characters that were like this. They were based on Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're based on Stallone, but like they're awesome, they're lovable, they're bravado, but they're kind of like one-dimensional. And you guys get to bring in a little bit more heart and then a ton of weirdness too.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I think what's so fun about his character is that you have this character who is really absolutely fearless going into these combat situations, shooting Nazis. But on the other hand, he's this guy who is sick of fighting, sick of being in war, and you know, just wants to retreat back into a normal life and start a family. And there's so many things that we can explore in that sort of contrasts in his two
so he just wants to go home and raise kids, but he has to come out and shoot Nazis instead.
Yeah, and we're exploring that a lot with this new Colossus, that the relationship between him and his girlfriend Anya, who you met in the first game, and so we're continuing to explore that relationship in this game.
So you mentioned how the war is sort of taking its toll on him, and right now we're seeing him rolling around in a wheelchair. What's the sort of like what happened here? How did he end up in this situation?
I mean, at the end of the New Order, things got he was really a broken man. There's you know, and that's so interesting to continue that story and to explore, you know, actions have consequences, and so we start this game with him being absolutely broken, and not his physical abilities are not what they used to be, and having that through gameplay, experiencing that climb, that struggle up again is really interesting.
What's that like, writing a character that hasn't sort of hit rock bottom but is sort of beginning at it? You know, like it's not like you're making the situations tougher and tougher for him. Like when you find him, he's not in good shape, and so you kind of inherit this character that has been through hell. What's it like to sort of start the story with somebody in such a bad spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes it so much more interesting to have him start at the, really beaten down, and exploring him and his struggles in these situations, and you know, how that affects his relationship to other characters in the resistance, and his continued fight against the Nazis it's super interesting to explore.
Were there any characters from literature or film or TV that sort of inspired that kind of trajectory that we see him on here?
Well, we sort of try to have a really open mind when we write the games, and we're not focusing on a single type of character. But I usually liken his story a little bit to Die Hard, to John McClane there.
That's so weird because I was literally going to say that about how he's beaten down at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. He's in that situation where the bad guys have taken over everything, and he's like walking through broken glass, bleeding feet, and what he really wants to do is get home and celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, with Holly Gennaro.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a great movie.
It is.
No, so I'm fascinated in the way this is all coming together because obviously, we look at the enemies in this game, we look at the setting of this game, which now takes place in America mostly.
Yeah.
So why the decision to bring it there, or here, or there, wherever you are?
Well, America was always in our sights, even from when we started working on the New Order. We knew that we wanted to go to America because a lot of this, the 60s, the cultural explosion, the cultural revolutions, the budding civil rights movement, and all of that was sort of a lot of it is coupled with America at that time. And I think we wanted to go there, but we didn't want to have just one level set there in New Order. So we just knew that it had to be its own game. And so it's been really interesting to get to go there finally and see all of that, those familiar images from the 60s, but subverted by the Nazi ideology.
Right, which I think is very interesting because like a lot of our audience, the audience who plays video games are young and didn't live through that time and didn't understand that, what that was culturally or what the Nazi situation was like culturally.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of get to take that era and subvert it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is it's tricky. You have to find these sort of familiar moments. But it's at the same time we don't want it to be too cliche. But I think it's important to show this kind of how the Nazis are sort of pushing their oppression onto the people slowly but surely, over the decade, and so this is part of how they're doing it, subverting these pop culture ideas.
I was going to say, do we get to see the way it kind of influences like art and music? I mean, when you think about this world, are you thinking about every corner of it, even the parts that the player might not see?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're exploring all kinds of different cultural expressions there in the game, and stuff that you can, everything from little details to things that are sort of part of the story.
Now, the weapons in this game, is that something like when you're coming up with the narrative, how much of that is influenced by like what the character is using to get through the situation at the time?
We try to have sort of a give and take there always, and that's what's so great about working with guys at Machine Games, that we have this idea that that narrative and gameplay should go hand in hand from the get-go, and so we always work like that, where we sort of start with maybe a basic premise, and the gameplay guys start brainstorming ideas, and we get together and figure out locations, settings that are interesting to explore, or gameplay stuff like being in a wheelchair, stuff like that. Yeah, so it's always a give and take, and I think that's really important.
I think like for the average gamer, I mean, including me, I think people would think that someone would write a story, someone else just adds guns to the story, they animate it in, and then it's done. But you guys aren't approaching this game like that.
No. We start from the get-go. We're super focused on the narrative and the gameplay experience being like walking in hand in hand. And I think that's very important to align the player motivation with the character's motivation. And I think you have to be part of the gameplay development from the start in
Yeah.
order to do that.
I think that's a fantastic approach.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're dealing with a lot of serious, actual, real-life villains here. Probably more real than we need to be these days. But you're also dealing with a lot of sort of goofy, like 1950s sci-fi stuff. There's a lot of, kind of genetic modification ideas. There's robots. Like, is that where you guys get to come in and go like, okay, we have the serious concept, the serious story about Nazis taking over America, but we also want to get a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of it is that both me and Jens and the other guys, that we really like these kinds of stories, where there's stories that don't just hit one single note all the time, but instead contains contrast between lightness and darkness, humor, seriousness, violence, and stuff like that. But it's also part of the legacy of the Wolfenstein series.
Right.
The first game, I mean, it's set in the World War II setting, but it's at the same time there's this silliness, this over-the-top violence, and I think that New Order was sort of a continuation of that, but even more emphasized through this alternate reality.
So do you have it so like the artists and the animators come to you with an idea for sort of a set piece, or like here we just saw like this sort of giant robot helicopter thing.
Yeah.
Do they come to you with those things? Do you bring ideas to them? Like how does that flow?
Well, I think it's like I said before, it's a lot give and take. It can be a lot of times me and Jens just going crazy, and the animators are like, "What? Are you serious?" And then the other way, they have their own ideas, how to construct scenes or set pieces, or to make it as cool as possible. So. There's this huge collaboration in doing something, a game like this, that I don't think is really almost not possible in any other cultural.
Right. Right. I think that's the sort of push and pull of like really fun writing and like really smart ideas and great art and all that stuff coming together. So tell me about this milkshake scene. I didn't want to spoil anything, but let's give our audience sort of an idea of what to expect with this.
Yeah, so it's when BJ, the player, is undercover in Roswell, New Mexico, and he's sort of infiltrating that city. He's going to deliver a nuke, which is encased in this fire extinguisher, pretending to be a fireman, and he's going to meet his contact in a diner in Roswell. And suddenly this Nazi commandant enters and wants to order a milkshake and starts up a conversation, and it gets really intense, but without maybe the violence that you used to in games. But it's like low kind of intensity.
That sounds completely terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
I can't wait to experience this. When can people play this game?
October 27th this year.
And this is coming to
PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Awesome. Tommy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wolfenstein 2 looks incredible. We'll be covering games all week long right here for Gamescom with IGN, so stick around.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
This is the IGN show.
Oh no, stop calling me.
Hey, Willie.
The IGN show, weeknights at 9:30, only on DXP.
Fear you, I do not.
Right, so we're at Gamescom 2017. I'm in the brightest place I think I've ever been. There's people with molten wax on them.
Is this hell?
I think it might be hell or heaven. And to mark the occasion, you're gonna mutilate your body.
Finally, everyone's always saying, Rory, you're too pale. You look like a skinny nerd. You're never gonna do anything with your life.
Oh, they say way worse than that.
What? Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all gonna change now because I'm gonna get my first ink, my first taste of the ink.
Let's go do it.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, where do we do it?
What do we think?
On your face.
I don't think face.
I think
Tattoos.
we can here.
Arm?
That's nice.
Neck?
Yes.
No, you know in prison, I think arm. I think we'll go arm.
Oh,
We'll go arm. Safe. Boring.
Like this?
Yes, like that.
Oh, because you can tense on
Oh
camera.
no! Oh no, this is awkward. I hope I don't look too good in this. Is this what's over there?
You're not Johnny Bravo, stop. So you've got no tattoos, Rory?
No, this is my first one.
Have you played Evil Within?
I haven't actually, and I'm putting a lot of faith in this one to be the best.
So let's go all in on the sequel then.
Yeah.
Is that hurting, Rory? Stinging?
Stings. Oh, that's good branding.
Stop tensing. Rory, come on now.
This is my resting bicep. No tensing going on. The impossible is happening. I'm becoming whiter.
Okay, a little bit. Yes. Up. So
Keep it off here.
5 minutes or so, and then
5 minutes. Okay.
Yes,
Cool. And then it's permanent.
And then it's forever, right?
And then it's forever, and you don't. Yes.
Never take it off.
Okay, good.
So that's you. You're just rocking that forever now.
Yeah, I have to win all in on this one.
Okay, I really hope Evil Within 2's good then.
It better be.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. We are playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 with Phil and Will. Gentlemen, welcome to the stage.
What's up, guys? Thank you very much.
I always like when we have live demos on the show.
Yes.
Those are the most fun. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, what are you going to show us today?
So we've got some brand new content. We've kind of touched on some bits and pieces. This time around, brand new level. We're level 7 of the game. We're in Asgard. We've got a big boss encounter against Surtur. And we're going to show you some brand new characters as well. And this is kind of tying into what we're doing with a story point of view. The story really kind of drops and changes with all these characters coming together. We're actually going to show you how we've got various versions of characters in the game together. So we've actually got 2 versions of Thor in this level. We've got Thor that's Jane Foster, and we've got classic Thor. So in the intro cutscene to this, Jane Foster turns around and goes, "Oh, Thor, is it really you?" And this is kind of part of the experience that you get with this game. We have all these characters from different time periods coming together.
I feel like we could interview you guys every other day, and each time you'd be like, "We have 7 new characters." There are so many characters in the game. It's awesome. I'm not complaining. That is a fantastic problem to have.
Yeah, we love it. The team are massive Marvel fans, and we get people coming, "Oh, I want to add this person," and we look and go, "Who's that?" And there's some really obscure ones. It's absolutely brilliant.
We've got some pretty hardcore fans on social media.
Yeah. Let's jump right into the gameplay here. We are Captain America.
So yeah, Captain America. We've actually got Loki. So in the cutscene, it looks like Thor, Jane Foster's talking to Odin. It's actually revealed it's not. It's Loki. And he's now helping us out because Surtur's turned up and we need to do something.
It looks like things are going well.
Yeah, so everything's on fire. Everything's falling to pieces.
This is fine.
So we'll just use Loki. So he's got his chest and you can use that to put out any fires in the level. And basically, with Surtur, he's got fire, so let's chuck some water at him. So we're using some of the characters and some of the abilities to kind of interact with the environment. Captain America's got his shield switches, so we're going to now like beam Surtur in the face with this big old water bomb.
Is this like a Captain America catapult?
Yeah,
it is now.
Yeah, trademarked.
That rules.
So, and the idea here is like basically we're trying to kind of introduce the player to this different type of boss encounter. So, from a gameplay point of view, we said that this is the 7th level. So, there's a reason why we're here. There's a reason we're kind of doing these events, but we can't give too much away. Sure, we've got to play the story. So, we just use Captain Marvel, using all their different abilities, and even characters that have kind of made a return from previous games have brand new abilities. So, the team up moves have made a return, but there's some really cool ones in there. So, for example, if Loki and Captain Marvel team up, they're kind of shooting all these different orbs around. Captain America has an ability, he can actually surf on his shield, so you can use that to kind of take out multiple enemies. So at this point, we're trying to use the different abilities. We can use Jane Foster, and we need to throw these giant barrels over at Surtur to kind of put out the various flames.
It feels like the more the LEGO games evolve, the sort of denser and richer and more insane the stages become, but you still find a way to kind of give players a visual cue to move things along. How do you find that balance?
It's testament to kind of everyone in the team, especially the design team, even like audio cues and highlights. Anything that's in the world you have to interact with if it's made of Lego. That's really important to us. So whether it's a boss encounter or something that you can pick up and throw, and then it's about making sure that the player knows kind of instinctively which characters to use, what they can do. Where this is the 7th level, we kind of teach the player the abilities as you go through the story, but the design team just do an amazing job of kind of drawing the player. There's something will flash and you'll see kids play it and they'll go, oh, I want to see what that is. They go over there, they figure it out, and they go, oh, that's what I needed.
So it looks like the boss is getting a little fed up and has brought the fight right to us.
Yeah, this is one of the really cool things that we've actually tried to do with LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. We've actually changed to a more dynamic boss system. So instead of in past LEGO games, where say, for example, you'd hit the boss a few times, you get a bit dizzy. Now actually what happens, you'll actually find that the boss will start attacking you, but if you want to go toe-to-toe with him, he'll start doing attacks to knock you back. If you stay at a distance and you're just doing ranged attacks all the time, he actually starts deflecting beams back at you, bullets back at you. So you've got to constantly change up the way that you're attacking the bosses. Otherwise, you end up getting killed quite a lot, basically. So we basically looked at the past games and kind of saw where we can improve. And that's the same with how you're saying about how we direct the player, how we make the levels easier to follow. Every game is a learning experience, so it makes every next game even better.
Now, everything from the catapult to the boss himself to a lot of the stuff in the environment looks like it's tangibly, physically made of Lego. Is there a sort of design philosophy behind that to make things look and feel like they would actually be constructible in real life?
Oh, yeah, very much so. The fact that this is a Lego game means that everything has to be kind of true to Lego. So the way that the characters are created, for example, they all match Lego's guidelines, if you will. We work really closely with them because the second we start doing stuff that you couldn't do within Lego, it's no longer a Lego game. So we want people to sit there and go, that's really cool. Like some of the builds, yeah, you would need a fortune and an awful lot of Lego bricks. Yeah. There's in the very first level, the Eson fight, there's 56,000 Lego bricks to build that. Like I don't know many people who've got 56,000 Lego bricks. We may in the office because we have an entire department that just make Lego models. So
yeah, I think even if you introduced like a new piece, like a lot of the hardcore Lego collectors and fans would be like, "What's that? I need that to build this like this Batmobile I'm working on."
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're always kind of really current as well. So Lego have elements that they bring in and special colors and things like that. And then when they do that, it's like, oh great, there's a new color, there's a new brick. Let's do that. Let's include it.
He doesn't like that.
Nope.
If there's literally something that hasn't been necessarily made before in Lego, not necessarily individual pieces, but our model team and our character team are absolutely amazing, and they will actually create it, like actually physically, and bring it up to the design team or whoever they're working with, and actually go, this is what we have in mind.
That's
so you
so
actually
cool.
get to hold it in your hands and stuff, and you actually get to see how it would actually feel and play.
That's really
it's
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, I think that you don't really get that advantage with a lot of other video games because if somebody like, say on a different game designs a character or something, it just kind of exists on the computer. But with you guys, it's like, well, this has a physical rule set. Like there's properties here. There's a way that you expect these characters to look and feel.
Yeah, and it was really cool for us as well, especially when we're doing variants of characters. So at Gamescom, we're revealing some brand new characters as well. So here's our grid.
This is just, I never get over this. I can't even imagine how long it's going to take me to unlock all these characters, which I definitely will.
Quite a while, but it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it's really, like I say, it's really important to us because we know that there are people who are massive fans, not just of saying, okay, I'm a fan of Spider-Man, but I'm a fan of Spider-Man 2099. That's what I read. So they want to know about those characters. They want to know that character's there. So the team do an incredible job of really kind of doing justice and making them feel like they do. And some of the new characters that we've got, so we've got Greenskin Smash Troll, who's part of the medieval England. We also have a Maestro. So Maestro is actually Hulk from the future. So brand new reveal. He's a new version of Hulk that turns up. There's actually a level where there's loads of Hulks kind of all duking it out, which is really quite cool. So we get to kind of include these characters and be able to, like you say, every time we turn up, we hopefully get to show you something new and something a bit unexpected.
Did I see Carnage?
We have Carnum. Carnage is in the game.
Right.
That is a reveal, but we have the Carnum, which is the character space especially for this game.
He has such a cool the level that he features in, his kind of boss fight level, is absolutely amazing. I'm biased slightly because I designed it, but the whole idea behind it is I wanted to create a very kind of scary experience, and it's all very much inspired by like John Carpenter's Thing. It's super awesome. It's such a good level that he features in.
Well, speaking of, I think it's time for Lego John Carpenter's The Thing. I'd play that game.
I would be all over that game.
That'd be terrifying.
Great new character. This is a character called Vormund. He's a German Captain America, Hauptmann Deutschland he was called, and this is a special reveal, especially for Gamescom, just because we're here and we really wanted to say thank you to all the German people, and it's a really cool character. He's got a really rich backstory as well, so we're really happy to have him in
I
the game.
love his costume. It's really cool.
So another kind of cool one we've got. So we've got people like Throg, but we also have Hydra's version of Iron Man as well. So Tactical Force
from just like the new. Where it was just revealed recently in the comics that he's been working as a Hydra double agent.
Oh, the captain, the kind of all of those bits and pieces. So this is actually a slightly different variation. So when they knew that Iron Man was kind of like a problem, so they Hydra created their own kind of versions of these characters. And so, like I say, being able to include stuff that's really, really current, as well as stuff like this really kind of old school as well. So it's brilliant. So, and here we have the Old West version of Iron Man. It's a little bit kind of more steampunky. So,
is he wearing suspenders?
I see. It's sort of like a blacksmith outfit.
Right.
You know, I mean, like in the story that it's kind of based on, he's sort of like a workshop blacksmith kind of guy, and he makes this steampunk suit of armor. It's kind of like based in the Wild West. It's really cool.
I like the idea of this boss being like, "What is happening?" This guy he just turned into a flying frog and like a steampunk bartender.
It's really great as well, because as we kind of show, we talked a little bit about Chronopolis, but for Gamescom we've revealed a new Chronopolis trailer which shows you some more of the locations, and they're not just places to look at. There are things there are characters there are quests, there are objectives. So even when you're outside of the story mode and you're exploring Chronopolis, there's a huge amount of content in there as well. So it ranges from the really kind of cool and really kind of hardcore comic to the really quirky, some very, very strange quests that the designers have done, but they're really, really fun. So
now tell us about this weird Wild West Captain America guy going on right now.
It was basically all based off a Jack Kirby drawing that he did. And again, it's a testament to like one, our characterized, two, the way that Marvel have set everything up and the rich back history that Marvel have. It gives us this huge license to because the whole story isn't just about the breadth of characters; it's the depth through Marvel. So it's going forward in time, going backward in time. You literally have characters meeting like Spider-Man 2089, meeting Spider-Man Noir. It's a really cool kind of thing. And we literally saw this one drawing and kind of went, well, we want to get this Captain America Wild West version, because what's cooler than Captain America wearing a cowboy hat, I guess.
So how's this boss fight going?
Well, I was running around and showing you guys characters, and then I figured I better finish up now, because he's probably kind of like
this is the toughest boss in LEGO video game history. It takes about 45 minutes. It's like a raid.
Yeah. It's one of the cool things, though, it's not just the boss characters that have been redone. Like the general enemies, you do have enemy types now, so there's a little bit more thought in the combat. So it's not just a case of if you hit square enough times, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Like there are occasions when you sit there and you realise that you can actually use abilities that I genuinely thought, hang on, I didn't know I could do that. And then as you're playing it, you go, oh, cool. That's how you can take down the guy with a shield. So, yeah, we wanted that kind of level of depth for it. So
there we go.
Nicely done.
Nice.
I designed this level, so you think I would actually be better at playing it. You should have got some QA, guys. But we wanted to show you guys a couple of the new characters and obviously show you this level, because it's never been shown before. It's the first time at Gamescom. Hopefully the guys who are seeing it for the first time actually really like it.
So we see this running on a PS4 right now. It's like it's really funny to me how I don't want to say unnecessarily, because everything should look good, but this game is gorgeous. Like it actually looks plastic, which is probably the best compliment I can give it.
We have a really hard-working engine team, art team, model team, character team. They're the guys that really don't get enough credit. I mean, I'm lucky that I get to be here talking about it, but like literally everyone that is still back in the office working really hard on this game, a massive thank you to them, because they're the ones who make absolutely everything. They're the guys still working in the mines.
Right.
Sort of thing while we're
we
sipping the champagne.
Swing over to sunny Cologne while they're stuck in the office still. And it's one of the first titles, the first titles that we're kind of pushing to be next gen only. So this is Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC. And as a result, the team get to do some amazing things with the engine and really kind of push it. So we want boss encounters with more stuff going on, more things to interact with, more characters on screen, and that's like a brilliant experience for us, because we always trying to like outdo the games, do more kind of every time, and that kind of jump from a generational console point of view means that we get to do things missions we just couldn't do previously.
The hub itself is 2 times bigger than the last game that we ever did, and we never, when we did that hub, we thought there's no way this hub could be even bigger, and then we get into this next one, and then the hub's twice the size of the last game, and it's filled with more things, more collectibles, more stories. The hub itself has little stories that sort of like weave through it, so even during the main game, when you're playing the main story, there are these little kind of hub stories that you go and you help out and you go on, which end in bonus missions and stuff. We've got these really cool bonus missions that we're so dying to show off, which may pop up at some point in the future.
You probably finished the last game too, and you're like, well, that's all the Marvel characters, and it's like, well, what about Throg?
Yeah, I literally get about 10 notifications every day of people going, what about these characters?
Yeah.
What about these characters? And we love you all, by the way. Keep them coming.
I have to say thank you for bringing it to the Switch.
Yeah, seriously.
Right? That's so nice.
Yeah. First
Everyone
Lego
else,
game for Switch.
all these other developers need to get on board.
Yeah, and one of the cool things is we're doing the whole Joy-Con thing. So you've got one Switch, you've got your 2 Joy-Cons, you pull it out, you give it to your friends, you play co-op.
rules.
Very cool. So. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, is there a release date?
Yeah, so November 14th for the US, November 17th for Europe.
Cool. Phil and Will, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Stay tuned. We still have more games to show you from Gamescom here on IGN Live after this.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Hey, it's Gavin Bryan here at Gamescom. Brian, you've just been to see Star Wars Battlefront 2.
That's right. I played some dogfighting. This is my first time actually playing this game. The original Star Wars Battlefront came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I put like 100-something hours into it.
Really?
Not the original, because they've been making this game for a very long time.
Yeah.
Dogfighting was like a really cool part of it, but it was kind of slow. You had to pick up like hero tokens to be the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
I feel like they're really fixing that right now.
Because it felt like as well, like I wasn't very good at it, so I never got on the Falcon, man.
So the problem with that was like if you weren't good at it, you would get blown up, and it would take you a few minutes to get back into the match.
So long.
So right off the bat, everything is so much faster right now.
Okay.
You get exploded, which will happen if a TIE fighter hits you or an X-Wing hits you, depending on which side you pick.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of right back into the action right off the bat. So the controls sort of feel similar. I thought they felt a little sensitive.
Yeah.
Like it was the kind of thing where if I tapped to the left, I started barrel rolling a lot quicker than I thought.
Right.
If you're into a little bit more sort of like sim style, like, you know, actual like kind of like Valkyrie type stuff.
Oh man,
you might be a little bit better. It's a little more that than it is, say, Star Fox.
Okay.
But I see myself getting the hang of it.
Yeah, and you can play as Darth Maul, right?
Yeah. So Darth Maul's ship, the scimitar, is in this game.
Okay.
It can go into like stealth mode, so people can't see it.
That's cool.
It's really awesome. Slave 1's back. It's got those big. I can't even make the noise. It's from the prequels. It's like, it's deafening.
It's a good noise.
It was the best part of seeing Attack of the Clones in theaters.
Yeah. And how many people were you playing against?
God, it felt like dozens because it's just you're just dogfighting over this gigantic war going on in the sky.
Yeah.
So this like the sort of space combat that everyone really wanted from the last one is here this time. Everywhere I looked, it seemed like something was exploding or someone was dying. Like it really does feel and sound and look like Star Wars. I think they're like Criterion's working on it.
Yeah.
So they have the ship controls down. I say that as if like I know how a TIE fighter actually should control.
Yeah, like they did cars.
Like
they can
cars.
do ships.
They can do like rotating sky cars. It's fine. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how deep into this sort of like weird Star Wars lore they go with this, because we saw some stuff for the prequels. Like I think there's such a deep bench of ideas that you can pick from there.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the best stuff about the prequels is some of the ships and some of the characters.
Yeah, definitely.
Less so much
man.
the scripts, but you don't really have to worry about them.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. That's absolutely fine.
Shooting stuff in the sky.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, what planet were you above?
I'm not sure exactly.
Nondescript
I think it was
Star Wars
Fondor.
planet.
So
Okay.
that was like the kind of a new area for me to mess with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was Fondor, but it was cool. Star Wars is definitely something that's been like near and dear to me for my entire life.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to sort of appreciate the prequels. You know, some people, if you're younger, you like it right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I think they're really well represented in this game, and I think people are really going to dig it.
I think you're right, though. I think, like, as someone who, like, a huge Star Wars fan as well, like, you, as you said, like, you might not appreciate the prequels, but there's bits in all the prequels that you're like, hey, this is awesome, this bit's awesome. And it feels like the video games, like, they can take all those bits. And people who are making the video games are kind of people like our age who've grown up going, yeah, they might not, but the films might not be that good, but that ship's dope.
Yeah, and I feel like the CG is going to be better, too.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's really good. So I really like the idea that, you know, they're doing stuff, you know, from the first one that people really wanted from the dogfights thing. And it kind of feels like they are doing a really good little bit of fan service.
Yeah, like we only got to check out multiplayer stuff on the show floor. I really can't wait for single player.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. But yeah, right now this is shaping up to be a really cool game.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, man. Keep it right here for everything else at Gamescom.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom. We are playing Ni No Kuni II with Fred and Pierre. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Let's jump right into the game and give us a quick overview of this. Of course, there's the original Ni No Kuni was a PlayStation 3 game. This is not a direct sequel, but takes place in the same universe. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. The game is taking place in a same universe, sometimes before or after. It's not entirely clear yet. And it's a completely new story. So new characters. You do not necessarily need to play the first one to understand and enjoy this one. And the story is all about Evan, that you can see right here, and his friend Roland. So Evan has been victim of a coup in his own kingdom of Ding Dong Dell. And now he's hiding in the mountains. And he will have to decide what he wants to do now. And probably his next move will be to decide to become a run-through king, and he will go on and try to set up his own kingdom. And right now, this mission right here, it's very early in the game. It's actually in the village of Cloud Coil Canyons. We are with the Sky Pirates that he met in the mountain. And he will have to save Tani, one of the girls from the clan of the Sky Pirates.
Now, we say a lot at IGN when we're playing video games. We're like, that game looks like a cartoon. This one actually looks like a cartoon. How do you sort of like conquer the sort of idea of making a game that looks like a video game and a cartoon at the same time? This looks like a playable cartoon. So how do you land on that?
Well, that actually has to do with the way the team is set up, because behind the character design, there's a lot of people coming from the animation. So you have Yoshiyuki Momose, who used to be an animator at Studio Ghibli, and he worked on movies like Spirited Away, for instance, and The Grave of the Fireflies. And that guy is designing all the characters of Ni No Kuni II. So you've got this influence from those kind of Japanese animated movies. And you have also people like Joe Hisaishi making the music and the soundtrack. And we've got this great team working at level 5, making those amazing visuals. And that's how you get this cartoon type and the characters themselves. But if you look closely at the environments, they are way more realistic, especially from the first game on. You've got some bump mapping, you've got some realistic texture, and you've got this unique mix that's, pretty cool and different from what we had in the first game and different from most of the game on the market.
So you've got new characters, new story, but are there any references to characters or events from the first game?
Yeah, I'm sure if you play the first games, you will see some Easter eggs. You will recognize some characters, you will recognize some places, but for the most part, the adventure is brand new. So, as I said, you don't have to play, but if you know the universe, well...
you may get a little bit more out of it.
Exactly. You'll know more surprises.
So this can be your first Ni No Kuni game?
It can be, completely. So what we have right now is the traveling mode.
Wow.
It's set in the diorama mode, so you see the people, character are very chibi style. I'm not sure if you can hear the music that much, but that's supposedly the moment where this great Joe Hisaishi music is kicking off.
And so is this sort of what we can call the overworld here?
Yes, that's the traveling mode between two cities or two dungeons. And as you can see, there's a minimap, and you can definitely choose your path. So right now, the mission is to head for the Wyvern's Den, but you do not have to go straight. It's not a linear path. You can actually choose where you want to go, how you want to get there. And if you're curious, if you're looking for stuff, you can discover a bunch of items, chests, and a few surprises. So explorers are welcome. And as you can see, there's a plane here. You've got the sea over there, and you can see the rest of the world. So it's all interconnected. It's not just a unique level. And here's the combat system. So when you see his enemies, and if they see you, and if you touch them, you enter this combat mode. So that's one of the big news from the precedent game. It's entirely real time now. It's nothing to do with menu. There's no turn-based strategy. It's all one button, one action. So what Fred is doing right now is hitting those little blobs with the regular and heavy attacks. And yeah, he also got this range attack. So all of the attacks are tied to a button. So that's a square, triangle, and
so how did you guys decide to go with this combat system rather than something that was more traditional RPG turn-based?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the original Ni No Kuni, it comes from a game that was published on the DS. And at the time, doing the turn-based system was the most obvious thing to do. So when they ported the game onto PS3, they decided to have something a little bit more action-oriented, and that's how we ended up with the monster system from the first game. But now the standard of JRPG have evolved again, and we've got some new games like, looking at a Persona, looking at the Zelda. Everything is brand new, so they want to raise the bar again, and they really, really want to deliver the best combat system possible.
So you even see hand-drawn elements like in the mini-map in the upper right.
Oh yeah, there's a huge influence. I mean, there are some artworks for this game. Everything is so gorgeous. There's a bunch of people at level 5 and in the team behind the game. They're so talented.
And we're seeing the character sort of collect stuff in the overworld. If you look at traditional RPGs, you did have an overworld like this, very top-down, and that's where you had your battles and stuff. But now there's also kind of secrets to find everywhere, treasure chests, all sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly. That's treasure chest right here.
No one will ever find this.
Well, those guys are sky pirates, so they're traveling with their flying motorbikes, so every now and then a chest falls apart and it falls on the ground. No, it's good to let people who really want to explore the universe, and the people who really want to see all the secrets. They can have a lot of time having fun. And as you can see, you don't have to do all the fights. If you're not noticed by the enemies, you can just avoid them and just go straight for the objective.
It's also cool that there's a lot of verticality in the overworld. It's not just a flat
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's funny because you see something, but you can't access it yet. So yes, another fight, and we can see a little bit more activities, like charging your range attack.
That guy's just standing around.
Pretty big one. And this creature there flying is a wyvern, and those are the guys who kidnapped Tani, the princess of the Sky Pirates. So you really have to make sure to defeat them all. What Fred just did here with the Higgledies, the little sprites on the ground, he's using their abilities. So every now and then they will have a circle like this, and when you do that, you actually get to use their powers. So if they are green Higgledies, they will provide you with the shield. If they are blue Higgledies, they can provide with a stun, and so on and so forth. And of course, you've got the charging abilities. So if you hold R2, you get to your special skills. Like this, they are displayed, and then with the press of square or triangle, you get a special ability. And if you charge them next to the Higgledies will jump on you, and you will get their power. So if you're next to the fire Higgledies when you charge your hit, then your hit will be in flames, and you will do some fire damages.
They're very excited to be in this battle with you.
This is what they live for.
Can they get? Speaking of which, can they die? Can they get hurt?
They can get hurt, actually. You've got a counter of Higgledies next to you, and if you take too many damages, then, you won't have enough Higgledies, and your hits will not be as powerful. Well, speaking as weird places, you get to see a chest on the right side, and you can't reach that, so you'll have to find a way to get to that chest. So, again, some more biscuit to chew on for the explorers.
So during combat, the other members of your party, do they act entirely on their own, or can you assign any commands to them?
Well, not only you can assign them some commands, but you can also play as them. You can dynamically switch characters during the combat. So for the sake of this demo, we only have Evan, and Roland is not playable, but in a full game you can play as Roland or anybody joining the party. But they can still manage on their own when you're not playing them.
There's a lot of gold that's just been dropped around.
Yeah. Well, those wyverns have just really crappy wallets. They keep spilling all their money everywhere.
So much loot around.
So now what about this area that we're heading into right now?
Well, that's the Wyvern's Den, and when you enter that, that's like a dungeon, so you're back into the regular mode. So we're no longer in the chibi mode, and you've got a full proportion for the characters.
So for the full proportion areas, as you're calling them, that's sort of like your RPG-type towns, and then also dungeons and stuff like that.
But you still have the same gold to catch, and you still have the chest hidden. So
and the Wyverns still have the same bad wallets.
Yeah,
they do.
Now, who or what are the Higgledies?
The Higgledies are these little characters,
those
little
are
sprite next to you.
The sprites, okay.
And they are born from elements like the sun, like the fire, or the plants, and they've got specific abilities. So one of your ambition in the game is to collect them because they get some rare Higgledies, and if you find them, well, they grant you some specific powers.
Wow.
So here we are arriving in the den. So
I feel like there's going to be a boss fight here, maybe.
I think it's going to be fine. I don't think
so?
I don't think any enemies live here.
No,
I think this is perfectly safe.
See?
Something's not right. It's a little quiet. Too quiet. I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, these guys are great. So now we've seen some of the sort of low-level Wyverns, but this guy,
he's a warlord.
Yeah, there we go. He gets the armor. The other ones just kind of get beat up without any clothes. So we're going to take a look at one of the larger boss encounters in the game right now.
Well, this mission is pretty early in the game, so it's not the biggest boss you'll see, but it's still pretty dangerous. Actually, we failed that mission quite a lot.
Really?
Off stage, so don't be afraid if everything turns wrong for us.
Attaboy. Now you've mentioned several times you don't need to have played the first game to enjoy this game. New story, new characters. But I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate a remaster of the first game.
Oh, really?
Is that yeah, I think
that's
so.
Interesting.
Is that something that's been discussed? Is that a possibility?
Well, we're still looking at every possibility all the time. You know how it is. We're looking at what makes sense. Right now, the team is entirely focused on making Ni No Kuni II and dedicated in making the best experience possible. I mean, the game has been in the plan for several years now, but we'll see about the fan, what they want, how they want it, and we'll act accordingly. But as of today, unfortunately, I can't confirm a remaster of the game, obviously.
All right, so how's our battle going here?
So as you can see, there's a bunch of minions that the Wyvern Warlord spawned, and the tactic is to kill them off first so that you can get the mana. The mana is the little crystals in blue above the health bar on the top left corner. And here you have a... See, Fred was trying to get the Higgledies up, but since we got hit, the Higgledies got down and on the floor, and that didn't work out.
I'm very worried about losing all these little Higgledies. I've become quite attached to them over the last few minutes.
Don't worry, you always have them. It's just for the sake of the combat. You can lose most of their powers, but after the combat's done, you still have them.
That's good to know.
You can't really lose your Higgledies.
Now, this Wyvern's probably a little confused that these cat-eared people and their weird ghost children just showed up to kick their butts.
Well, I'm not sure because, you know, Wyvern are wyvering on their own, so they've got to be expecting somebody to kick their ass at some point. And now in the world of Ni No Kuni, you've got several types and races of character living in harmony. So, for instance, Ding Dong Dell, the original kingdom from Evan, has a mix of cat folks and mouse folks. So not everything is going all right all the time, but at least it's not that uncommon for people to be in the same cavern fighting wyverns.
Now, I imagine going through the story, collecting things all over the overworld is going to take players a significant amount of time. Do you guys have a sort of estimation of how many hours it might take?
Oh, you're looking north of 50 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
50 hours.
It's going to be a long game, especially if you want to look for all the rare Higgledies, you want to find all the hidden chests, and so on and so forth. There's also a bunch of new modes that we haven't really shown yet, but that includes managing the kingdom of Evan and managing the battles, and all of that will take some time and will offer some endgame features for the players. So as you can see, the Wyvern Warlord is on the last quarter of his life now, and every now and then they will drop some kind of golden orbs, just like the first game, that will give you a specific boost and will help you use your abilities without restraint.
Getting close to killing this guy.
So using this stunning eagle is usually a pretty good strategy to get him on the floor, because as long as he's in the air, it's... Oh, see, that's the golden orb. So right now, Evan is having all his abilities, and there we go.
Tears his head
so
off.
that's it for that wyvern.
Drinks the blood, yeah. Just gets really dark, M-rated.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for bringing Ni No Kuni II by the IGN stage today.
Well, again,
is there a release date for the game?
Yes, January 19th next year.
January 19th. Cool.
And it's coming on PC, PS4.
Awesome.
PS4.
Good way to kick off the year.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We still have more games to show you here at Gamescom on IGN Live after this.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
This is the IGN show.
Oh no, stop calling me. Hey, Willie.
The IGN show, weeknights at 9:30, only on DXP.
Fear you, I do not.
Hey guys, I'm Alana here with IGN. Here at Gamescom 2017, we're just about to get our first ever hands-on with PUBG on Xbox One. I am very, very excited to try this out. I'm interested to see how different it's going to be changing weapons when you can't hotkey. I hope jumping feels a little bit better, but mostly, I just want to get one kill. I'm very stealthy in this game, so my goal here is just one kill, alright? Wish me luck, let's do it. Oh no! I'm being shot at, but I can't see where they are. Where are you? Come on. Maybe they're not shooting at me. Alright, you guys. I didn't get a chicken dinner, but I did get in the top 50, which is all I really wanted. And I have to say, overall, I'm very, very impressed with how PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds handles on Xbox. It looks really great. It plays really great. It is a little different adjusting to changing weapons and managing your inventory, but I don't think it's different enough for anyone to have trouble picking it up. And one thing that actually felt better was jumping. I found it a lot easier to jump over things and navigate that way than I do on PC, so that was one improvement. Overall, I was really, really happy with the experience and can't wait to see how active people are when this is actually out on Xbox. It's a very, very exciting thing to come to console players, and hopefully we'll see you online very, very soon. For more on Gamescom and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, keep it locked.
Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom, and we are about to get a live gameplay demo of Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'm joined by the team behind the game. Gentlemen, welcome to the IGN stage up here.
Thank you.
I know you guys are going to jump into a couple matches real quick. Give us a general overview. This is a Dragon Ball fighting game, which at first glance, the first thing you notice is that it looks amazing.
Yes,
it looks exactly like watching an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this game graphically, we've surely reached a new steps.
Yeah.
Clearly, you can see that, as you said, it's basically playing a Dragon Ball anime episode.
Right.
So, which is, I mean, personally, and I think it's the case for many, many fans around the world, it's like a childhood dream that comes true, basically. Sure. You've always wanted to trigger those incredible attacks with your favorite characters with this kind of graphical identity.
Like, I don't think I've seen another game that looks this much like its source material. Like, how did you accomplish that? Did you have to invent new techniques? in order to...
So basically, I mean, the main answer to this question is the fact that we are working very closely with a very famous studio called Arc System Works.
Right.
So they are very famous for their expertise in 2D fighting game and for the graphical identity they managed to create for the title. So we really thought that it would be a perfect fit for the Dragon Ball brand to have this kind of graphical identity.
I see.
And then graphically speaking, so they are using a kind of technical stuff called 2.5D graphics, meaning that, you know, like the moves of the characters are actually 2D, so they can only move left and right, but the characters themselves are made out of 3D models. So you can see them like front, like this, they can turn around, they can have all these kind of different movesets that wouldn't be possible with only pure 2D graphics.
I see. Wow, it's really interesting. So we know it's an absolutely gorgeous fighting game, but tell us a little bit about the mechanics. Is it true that you kind of borrowed Marvel vs. Capcom's control scheme? Or were inspired by that? Or?
Yeah, that's actually the genre of game, which is called 3 vs. 3 fighting game. So basically, you're doing your team of 3 characters, and the really interesting thing about this specific kind of gameplay is the deepness that it brings to the fighting experience. Because, I mean, you cannot control only one character, obviously. You have to have skills on different movesets, on different playability. And you can also mix the different fighters to do your own combination of fighting styles, because obviously they all have their own way of fighting, their own special abilities.
So who's the better player over here?
He's the one who's on the left. I think you can see it.
So obviously you're going to have a bunch of characters that are going to be familiar to Dragon Ball fans. But what about the stages and the environment? So those the locations also going to be something that fans will
exactly. So here you can see the very famous Cell game stage, which is from the fight that the heroes are doing against Cell, so which is one of the main bad guys of the series. And as you said, and it's a good point, I mean, on top of the graphical identity, the game is really faithful in its content also. So you can see, for example, all the characters, the way they move, the way they speak, the stages, everything is so faithful and so true to the original masterpiece.
What about voice acting?
And voice acting also, so we have Japanese and English voice acting, and they're both the same as the anime, so people can really re-experience this old Dragon Ball feeling, and this kind of immersive experience.
So worldwide, you can... The Japanese language track will be included in the Western release?
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Because we
I always appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the same. I mean, we know that most of the fans, I mean, many fans really enjoy these Japanese voiceovers. They feel it's more, you know, faithful to the original masterpiece, especially in Europe. So, for example, in the US, they would prefer English voiceover. That's a specificity of their markets. But in Europe, most fans really like the Japanese original voiceovers.
That's interesting. So in fighting games, the character roster is very important. People always want to know about the characters. Have you announced the full roster yet?
That's something we are not revealing, but so far we have a total of 13 characters, and we have already some really iconic fighters. And the interesting and important thing to keep in mind when talking about the roster is the fact that there's no clone, I would say. There's no 2 characters playing the same and feeling the same when you get your hands on a controller. So that's why it's requiring a lot of work for the studio to build all those different movesets and things that are really faithful to the anime itself.
And it looks like there's also environmental damage.
Yes.
To the stages that happens
you have
as
a good
the fight
eye.
plays on?
Good eye.
Yeah. I mean, I have an eye.
Yes, indeed. This is part of the really cool and exciting features that are in this game is, as you said, the environmental damage and the way you're making the environment change depending on the attacks you're triggering. So, for example, if you manage to guard an attack, sometimes you can even throw it in the background and it destroys a house or whatever, and it stays during the whole fights. So that's a pretty good feature that a lot of fans are already praising about this game.
So at the top of the screen we have the health of all the fighters. Tell me about the meter at the bottom of the screen, though.
So at the bottom of the screen is basically your energy gauges. So that's the stuff you're using to trigger the different attacks, and even to use some other moves such as instant transmission, for example. That's part of the Dragon Ball universe, as we've just seen on the screen. So you can like disappear and reappear behind your opponent, but that's also using this power we can see at the bottom of the screen.
So the higher you get that number, the bigger attack you can perform?
Exactly. The higher you get the number, and the bigger... I mean, you can have some kind of finishing moves, but it's only possible... This one, for example, it's only possible if you have...
It should be the one. That's the finishing move.
Yeah, so you can even see. So it's also a very, very good example of environmental damage, because you're actually kind of destroying everything. There's also a stage where you're almost destroying the whole planet, and then it's all about lava and volcano. But yeah, to come back to your question, the more you have those power gauges, then the more you can access to powerful attack and finish.
Is there a story mode?
Yes, indeed. And as a matter of fact, we've just announced it, and we've just revealed a first teasing video included in the trailer we launched this morning. So we cannot reveal that much information at this stage, but basically we can already say that it will be a new, original, and exciting story. So different from the original, Dragon Ball scenario, and it will involve the androids, especially Android 16. So we're really, really looking forward to sharing more information about that, because it's like a really important feature and mode of the game itself.
That's very cool. So you were telling me before we got started, you took the game to EVO, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
And you got some good feedback from the competitive community?
Yeah, definitely. So generally speaking on this game, our objective and the way we're approaching competition and potentially esport is that we don't want to, I would say, to impose the game to the fighting community, if you see what I mean. We first want to let them play it, let them enjoy this experience, and gain some grassroots legitimacy from the fighting game community. And so far, I mean, so far so good on the game. We revealed at E3 the game with the first build, and people were already, I mean, going crazy, and they wanted to see this game everywhere at esport and competitive events. And indeed, as you said, at EVO, we ran our first competition on the game, and it went incredibly well. I mean, even if it's not released yet, we've seen players doing some incredible moves, and even a pretty legendary comeback. So, yeah, that's the kind of thing we're definitely looking into it, doing like a broader competitive approach. And this Friday, actually, we even have our first ESL tournament. So this Friday afternoon, with even a really like exclusive and world premiere announcement. So be sure to attend this.
We look forward to hearing more about that. What about online features?
So online features, yes, because I mean we do know that today people want to compete online. They want to fight. They want to enjoy the game with other players around the world. So we revealed a few things so far, especially what we call the party match. Which is basically like a really, really interesting and fun feature. So as you can see, the game is a 3 versus 3, but in this specific mode, you are actually 6 players, and each player is controlling one character. So every time you're switching character during the fight, you're also switching the player. So your teammate is going to take the lead and be the one fighting, and it's going to fight until he dies or decide to switch again character. So that's, I would say, a more fun and casual way to enjoy this great fighting experience.
Is there voice chat supported? I'm just wondering, is there a way to communicate with your team members to know when to switch characters?
Actually, there's a way, and it's a pretty fun and interactive way. You're using what we call the stamps. So it's, to make it simple, it's like an image of coming from the Dragon Ball universe. It can be a character doing like a special pose or something. And each stamp is associated with a specific message. So during the fight, you can use those stamps to communicate with your teammates. So for example, if he's having a hard time beating the enemy, you can use a stamp saying, hey, come on, switch with me, I'm ready to battle. Or you can criticize him or congratulate him if he's doing a good job. So that's a really nice way to, I mean, keep the fighting experience, but add this kind of like communication and interaction between players.
Sure. And you have 2 betas coming up, right? Both open and closed?
Yeah, exactly. So we have, first of all, the closed beta coming mid-September, so 16th and 17th. So this one will be mostly about testing the gameplay, the balance of the characters. So for the development team, it's really a way to see if there is some adjustments that needs to be done to make the game really, really balanced. And then we have an open beta in January. And this one is mainly about stress testing the game to see, like, on a broader scale, all the online features and how the servers can support all of this. And eventually, if we identify some other, I would say, gameplay modification that needs to be done, that will be some first insight for future free patch, for example.
Sure. Are you thinking about how to onboard players who are Dragon Ball fans, but maybe they don't have a lot of experience with fighting games? Is there a tutorial or practice mode?
Yeah, definitely. There will be this kind of feature in the game. And generally speaking, I mean, if you get your hands on the game, even from the first match you're doing, even if you don't know fighting game, I mean, believe me, you can already have fun, you can already trigger some impressive attack, and you can already experience and enjoy this whole Dragon Ball identity and feeling. So the good thing is that I would say there's really... Yeah, we told you it was the best one. There's really like 2 layers of gameplay, I would say, 2 layers into one gameplay. You have a first one that you can enjoy, even if you don't know fighting game. And then the second one that is way deeper with combination of combos, with chain, with more intricate attacks that you can enjoy if you're, I would say, a better player used to fighting games.
Very cool. Once again, like I don't think you can overstate how cool the game looks. It really looks amazing. It's out next year? Is there a release date?
Yeah, actually, this morning we've just announced that it's going to be released on February 2018.
Oh, cool.
So a few months to wait.
All right.
But very, very excited to release the game and to see the whole community playing that and enjoying this unique Dragon Ball experience.
Yeah, I bet. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The game is Dragon Ball FighterZ. It looks awesome. Stay tuned. More to come from IGN Live at Gamescom after this.
IGN is everywhere you are. Like us on Facebook to get the latest trailers, gameplay, and funniest memes. IGN on Twitter will keep you up to date on everything happening within the realm of gaming, movies, and TV shows. Follow our Instagram to get behind-the-scenes stories and one-on-one celebrity access. And subscribe to IGN Snapchat as we take you on movie premiere red carpets and the show floors of the world's biggest entertainment events. Find IGN today on all of your favorite platforms.
Destiny 2 is scrapping all your guns, light levels, abilities, accessories, and armor from the previous game.
So, everything is gone. Your stuff, my stuff, most importantly, my stuff.
But Bungie is also adding a bunch of new stuff, a lot of which is directly in response to community feedback and criticism. Here are 11 things that are new to Destiny 2. New villain Dominus Ghoul has destroyed the tower and drained the power of the Traveler. He's the military emperor of the Cabal Empire and leader of the inexorable Red Legion, a more advanced and brutal division than any faced previously. And they sure know how to make an entrance. 4 new worlds can be explored in Destiny 2. There's Titan, Nessus, Io, and finally the European Dead Zone on Earth. This is one of the first areas you'll explore and is twice the size of any location Bungie has ever built. A jagged shard of the Traveler rests there, which is used by the Guardians to rebuild their light abilities at their new base of operations, the Farm. The Farm is Destiny 2's answer to the Tower. This refugee camp is tied to the story, so advancing through the game will make the population grow as Guardians rebuild their strength after the attack. The Farm can support 26 players compared to the Tower's 16 and is packed with ways to kill time with all the extra players crammed into the area, including a soccer pitch, hidden secrets that will make your character glow or run faster, and, most importantly, chickens.
Enemy approaching.
Right now, we know of 4 new Crucible maps in Destiny 2. There's the Endless Vale, the cramped, deserted streets of Earth's Midtown, the Altar of Flame, and of course Vostok, which may look familiar if you visited Felwinter Peak in Destiny 1's Rise of Iron expansion. The first big change in the Crucible is that all matches are now 4v4, which fundamentally changes how players work together. Leaner teams means a single death will wipe out a quarter of your firepower, so tactics and cooperation are vital in 2 tense new gameplay modes.
Survival.
In Survival, teams share 8 lives between them. Once they've all been used, permadeath kicks in and the last team standing wins.
Opposing team annihilated.
In Countdown, your job is to plant a bomb and defend it until it explodes. Or flip sides and try and stop the opposing team from planting theirs. Destiny has always been built upon 3 core classes: Titans, Warlocks and Hunters, and each has always had its own specialisation options, known as subclasses, that, among other things, are armed with specific super moves. Destiny 2 has whipped the cloak off 3 new subclasses with 3 new supers. The Dawnblade Warlock with their Daybreak super, the Titan Sentinel who turns into an aggressively purple Captain America using Void Shield, and the Hunter Arcstrider who wields a super called Arcstaff. Now, the 3 old classes have also been updated with new class abilities, while a new subclass skill tree layout makes it easier for players to choose what exactly they want their Guardians to specialise in. Destiny 1's primary, secondary and heavy weapons have been replaced with 3 new weapon slots: Kinetic, Energy and Power. You'll find most of your familiar hand cannons, assault and scout rifles in the Kinetic slots, with heavy weapons like shotguns, swords and rocket launchers in Power. Energy weapons are the hybrid class between the two, in that hand cannons, auto rifles and any weapon that's imbued with solar, void or arc energy can be found there. The goal of the new weapon system is to allow players to experiment with different gun combinations for different subclasses, shaking up the traditional long-range, close-range binary of the first game. Clans now form the backbone of the community, comprised of up to 100 members. Join one and it's easier to find people to actually play with. There are also rewards every clan member will receive depending on how its players are progressing.
You obliterated the enemy.
Guided Games is a way for solo players to find clans to play with, matchmaking teams who are already hosting a game and are just looking for 1 or 2 more Guardians with the players needed to complete their squad. Destiny 2 places a greater emphasis on exploration. NPCs you meet will mark the map with something called Lost Sectors, which are fully fledged dungeons that you can stumble across or actively search for in the open world. Each is filled with bosses and, of course, a whole lot of shiny loot.
Yeah, right? That's what I thought.
Adventures pepper the map of every planet you visit and are fully voiced, self-contained stories that delve deeper into the location you're currently exploring. Whereas in the first game you collected grimoire cards to learn the backstory of the game, Destiny 2 Adventures take a leaf out of open-world RPGs books by making these side quests the delivery vehicle for lore. And finally, you no longer have to go into orbit to travel from one location to the next. You can select destinations from your current position and launch into another area of the game straight away. We've got loads more information on each of the entries in this list as part of our IGN firsts. For instance, you could go check out 7 minutes of survival gameplay on the Altar of Flame, or take a tour of the farm and see that soccer pitch for yourself.
That's a wrap on day 1 of IGN's live coverage of Gamescom from Germany.
Coming to the show tomorrow, we've got Need for Speed Payback, Overwatch, and Star Wars Battlefront.
We will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow.